Through the fluorescent movement trajectory, Lin Moyu vaguely recognized Yao, which was a set of boxing techniques. However, because the amount of fluorescence is too small, it is still not possible to see the true appearance of the boxing technique. If it is really a boxing technique that involves whole body movements, even the most common boxing technique cannot be described clearly by 10 points of fluorescence. If it is some advanced boxing techniques, it may also involve the operation of muscles and blood vessels, as well as the cooperation of laws and soul power, which is much more complicated. Let alone 10 points of fluorescence, even if it is 100 points and 1,000 points, it may not be able to be expressed clearly. Lin Moyu could only be patient and continue watching. As time passed, the fluorescence increased a little every day, and the silent words became clearer. I really saw it right, it was indeed boxing. 30 days later, Lin Moyu watched the 30-point fluorescent light dancing continuously. He used his soul power to simulate the body, cover it with fluorescent light, and outline the lines to draw a human form. I finally saw this boxing technique clearly. This set of boxing techniques is very simple, with a total of 36 moves that are not complicated. Tianzuan, how can you use such a simple boxing technique? Even if you are in the supergod realm, you don't like this kind of method. If you say that this set of boxing techniques is for people who are just starting to practice, then it's pretty much the same. Lin Moyu suddenly thought of a possibility and clenched his fists. I understand. This is the cultivation path of Zhuli Tianzuan. When he first started practicing, he practiced this set of boxing techniques. The years are too long to trace back, and too many things have happened in 2 million years. The way of cultivation in ancient times is very different from the way of cultivation today. Lin Moyu only knows that in ancient times, people paid equal attention to the cultivation of the physical body, unlike today, which emphasizes the soul over the physical body. Lin Moyu tried to practice boxing and found that this boxing method has a bodybuilding effect. It's just that for him, the role of body training is very minimal. It would be good if he could use it to get started. This boxing technique is a good body refining technique before the true God realm. The human race lacks body refining skills, and the physical body is passively strengthened. If we bring this set of boxing skills back, it can strengthen the foundation of the human race. The boxing technique is not difficult, and Lin Moyu has completely mastered it in just 3 or 2 strokes. Night fell again, and it was the 32nd day that Lin Moyu came to give his feedback. When the fluorescence appeared, Lin Moyu jumped onto the fluorescence, stepped on the gravel, and punched with the fluorescence. The punches were very slow. Lin Moyu paid attention to the rhythm and maintained the same speed as fluorescence. After finishing the fight in one place, Lin Moyu followed the fist movement and walked sideways to the second place. Then the third and fourth places. Lin Moyu followed Zhuli Tianzuan's boxing training path and completed the 36 boxing styles without suffering any damage. After the last move, the vortex in the sky suddenly changed, projecting streaks of light and shadow. Countless figures appeared on the ground. This figure continued to practice boxing on the gravel over and over again. Each figure is exactly the same, and the boxing skills they practice are also exactly the same, but the status is different and the area is different. Without exception, they all stepped on rocks and were not wearing shoes. Even if the soles of his feet were worn out, he did not stop. Lin Moyu completely understood. This is the experience of Zhuli Tianzuan at the beginning of his cultivation. This set of boxing techniques is his entry-level boxing technique, and it may also be the most profound boxing technique in Zhuli Tianzuan's memory, so after his death, the remnant soul subconsciously advised and evolved this area. Lin Moyu completely understood, and everything became logical. The projection changed, and all the figures finally gathered together and turned into a door. In front of the door, a figure stood with his head bowed. The figure was none other than Zhuli Tianzuan. Lin Moyu looked at this scene and whispered to himself, "Are you just seeking enlightenment?" Advertisement. Lin Moyu heard a majestic voice, "If you want to enter my door, then use the body-refining fist to smash this door." The figure nodded, rose up with great force, and smashed the door into pieces with one punch. Julie Tianzuan rushed into the entrance hall and worshipped as a disciple. The screen turned again, and Lin Moyu found that the door was still the same. He knew what he had to do. He had to follow the footsteps of Julie Tianzuan and break the door before entering the next area. Lin Moyu also came to the door. He gave up all his previous strength and actively suppressed even his physical strength. If he wants to follow the footsteps of Julie Tianzuan, he cannot use other powers. At that time, Julie Tianzuan should not be in the supergod realm, but just an ordinary person. Lin Moyu also regarded himself as an ordinary person. The boxing techniques were constantly rehearsed in his mind, and finally the 36 boxing techniques were merged into one, leaving only one punch. After this nameless body-refining boxing technique was gathered together, it exploded with considerable power. At least in the supergod realm, having this power is considered invincible. Lin Moyu punched out and the door banged, but it did not break. Lin Moyu was not disappointed when he failed to smash the door with one punch. From the experience just now, we can see that Julie Tianzuan also practiced for many years before he finally fully exerted the power of this punch. And I have only been practicing for a long time, so it is normal for me to be able to hit it with one punch. Lin Moyu continued to simulate this boxing technique in the soul world, practicing it countless times in just a few minutes. Combined with the previous projections, he corrected his shortcomings and continued to perfect his boxing skills. Finally, Lin Moyu punched again. This punch was much more powerful than before. The moment he punched, all the energy and blood in his body was mobilized, making a dragon roar. The punch came out like a dragon and landed heavily on the door. Numerous cracks appeared on the door, and then it exploded with a bang. Lin Moyu, like the former Julie Tianzuan, rushed through the gate and became a disciple to seek enlightenment. The world changes, and behind the gate is another world. In front of you is a road that goes straight to Yunqiao. Above Yunqiao, there are vague mountains, and there are official palaces and houses in the mountains. The vortex in the sky finally disappeared, but Lin Moyu still didn't dare to pry with the eyes of his soul. He knew very well that snooping was absolutely not allowed in this world, otherwise he would die. Don't doubt Tianzuan's methods. They exist at different levels and are not something you can resist. This avenue to the sky has been walked by Julie Tianzuan before. It seems that I will also walk it today. The avenue has tens of thousands of steps and reaches Yunqiao, so the journey will certainly not be smooth. Lin Moyu was mentally prepared to die a few more times, so he stepped onto the road and walked towards Yunqiao. In the blink of an eye, he walked through nearly 1,000 steps without anything happening. After stepping on the first 1,000 steps, the first 1,000 steps are a circular platform with a diameter, good money, of about 100 meters. A figure appeared in the center of the platform, and Lin Moyu recognized it at a glance. This figure was the former Julie Tianzuan. The figure is practicing boxing on the platform. The boxing technique is not complicated, just a few moves going back and forth. Lin Moyu recognized at a glance that this boxing method was an upgraded version of the previous body-refining boxing. It's still body training, but the effect is stronger. There is nothing too powerful except body refining. In just 2 minutes, several boxing techniques had been practiced, and then a huge boulder appeared in front of Lin Moyu, blocking the way. Lin Moyu knew that he also needed to practice this boxing technique to break the boulders before he could move forward. The evolution of the world of rules reappears in front of him, the path Julie Tianzuan once walked. I need to walk along this road again. As for how long it will take, Lin Moyu doesn't know. He can only go like this now, there is no other way, otherwise he will be trapped and die here, let alone getting the remains of Tianzuan. After practicing boxing with Julie Tianzuan, Lin Moyu felt that the energy and blood all over his body were mobilized by the boxing, and a stream of power surged out of the energy and blood. Even in his physical state, he can still feel some changes. It's just that this change is very weak and not enough to affect myself. We've almost reached the supergod realm. Lin Moyu feels that Julie Tianzuan, who is on the Great Road, has reached the supergod realm at this time. Suppressing his own strength, he imitated Julie Tianzuan's boxing techniques and punched the boulder. The boulder exploded with a bang, opening up the road ahead. Lin Moyu continued to move along the avenue, walking through 1,000 steps again, and another platform appeared. Julie Tianzuan continued to practice boxing, and his boxing techniques became more refined and his strength became stronger than before. But overall, it is still a body-refining fist, not a powerful technique. Lin Moyu memorizes the boxing techniques, then practices and analyzes them in his mind. It's almost reached the 7th level of Super God. Julie Tianzuan is making rapid progress and becoming stronger and stronger. A boulder appeared on the road ahead again, blocking the way. Lin Moyu already knew what he should do. He also practiced boxing, mastered the boxing skills, and then shattered the boulder with one punch. With his physical strength, there is no difficulty in practicing this boxing technique. After that, every 1,000 steps, a platform will appear. On the platform, there must be the boxing track of Julie Tianzuan, and there must be huge rocks blocking the way. Lin Moyu followed the example again and again, smashing the boulders into pieces again and again. As the avenue goes further and further, the power of Julie Tianzuan is also constantly improving, becoming stronger and stronger. When we reached the 10,000th step, a large platform with a diameter of 1 kilometer appeared. Julie Tianzuan stood in the center of the platform and practiced boxing. He seemed to have been practicing for countless years, day after day, year after year. Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes and his boxing technique completely changed. From the beginning to now, the law has finally changed. Although there are still shadows of the body-refining fist in it, wind and thunder appear on the fist, and a law seems to have appeared. At this time, Julie Tianzuan's power has been upgraded to the divine realm. Normally, a certain law should have been perfected long ago. But Julie Tianzuan has never shown the law, he just proves it through experience. Lin Moyu suddenly understood, Julie Tianzuan follows the law of power. The law of power does not appear externally, so it cannot be felt. After reaching the divine realm, use the law of power as the foundation to induce other laws to be used for your own use. The fists of Julie Tianzuan are full of wind and thunder. The wind and thunder do not go outward but continue to enter the body and continue to refine his body. The wind and thunder caused by the boxing technique are not for fighting the enemy, but only for physical training. Julie Tianzuan has been refining his body from the very beginning, and he has been refining his body continuously. Lin Moyu tried his best to write it down. This is a lost body refining method, which is too important for today's human race. If there is such a method, the foundation of the human race will be extremely solid. He followed in the footsteps of Julie Tianzuan and also started practicing boxing. Once, twice, 100 times. With blood boiling and wind and thunder accelerating, Lin Moyu felt that his physical body seemed to be stronger again. The art of body refining in ancient times is truly extraordinary. Lin Moyu was amazed. His physical body was already in the other shore realm. He didn't expect that he could strengthen his physical body by using the fists of the god realm in ancient times. The physical refining technique of ancient times indeed has its magic. He practiced here for a long time and finally mastered this body-refining boxing technique completely. Then he smashed the boulder with one punch and continued to move forward. At this moment, Lin Moyu feels that he has gained a lot. Even if you don't get the remains of Tianzuan in the end, as long as you can bring this body-refining technique back, you can change the cultivation pattern of the human race. It is conceivable that from now on, the human race will no longer have a strong soul and a weak body, and can let the soul and body run side by side. Waiting for the restoration of the big world and the reappearance of the divine road, the human race may be able to regain its former glory. After passing the platform of 10,000 steps, the platform no longer appears once every 1,000 steps, but appears once every 10,000 steps. When Lin Moyu came to the second 10,000 level platform, Zhuli Tianzuan's boxing skills became more advanced and his realm reached the peak of the gods. Every punch fired can stir up the clouds and move the heaven and earth. Lin Moyu's heart was surging, and he continued to practice boxing with Zhuli Tianzuan. His energy and blood boiled, and his physical realm improved. He is looking forward to it, looking forward to the next harvest, and looking forward to the body refining technique in the other side realm. At the same time, he was also looking forward to the path of cultivation after Zhuli Tianzuan. Watching Zhuli Tianzuan practice all the way, I understand how hard Zhuli Tianzuan works in order to practice. It is another platform with 10,000 steps, and the avenue has penetrated deep into Yunqiao. On the platform, Zhuli Tianzuan's vitality and blood were like a dragon, roaring. He has reached the other side, and his strength is ridiculously strong. Lin Moyu feels that the Zhuli Tianzuan at this time is enough to defeat him physically. And Zhuli Tianzuan has already shown what it means to conquer 10 societies with one force. Any magic technique or any magic weapon can be broken by him with one punch, and it is full of joy. With one punch, the sky and the earth collapsed, and the clouds appeared. The clouds dispersed, and a majestic palace appeared in sight. Zhuli Tianzuan roared loudly and rushed into the palace ministers. The palace bloomed with rays of light, and the rays of light were filled with the figure of Zhuli Tianzuan. He kept practicing boxing, thousands, millions of times, countless times. His power is getting stronger and stronger, and his realm is constantly improving. The other shore, the Holy One, the Supreme Peak. The runes of the great world appeared, sending down boundless power to help him achieve the status of Heavenly Lord. This is the path of cultivation for Zhuli Tianzuan. Without taking too many risks, I rely purely on boundless perseverance and diligence to train myself to the level of heaven. Lin Moyu has already seen that Zhuli Tianzuan's qualifications are actually not very good, at least he is not a genius. But he used his Qin Fun to prove that as long as he works hard enough, anything is possible. Lin Moyu tried his best to memorize all the boxing techniques, especially the boxing techniques displayed by Zhuli Tianzuan after entering the palace. He could remember as many as he could. These are all lost body refining techniques, which are of great use to today's human race. The palace disappeared, the scene changed, and Lin Moyu found himself in the Minister of the Starry Sky. The stars are bright, the battlefield is in front of you, and the human star field is behind you. A war broke out, and a giant figure appeared in the starry sky. Lin Moyu recognized at a glance that the giant was Zhuli Tianzuan. Zhuli Tianzuan is alone, facing endless enemies. He was bigger than a star. With one punch, the starry sky was extinguished and countless enemies died on the spot. But there were more enemies surrounding him, especially among these enemies, some of them were extremely powerful, not much weaker than Li Tianzuan. The most powerful man in the Black Blood world led his men to besiege the Zhuli Tianzuan, but the Zhuli Tianzuan did not retreat even a step and fought hard. Behind him is the human star field. He cannot retreat, nor can he retreat. He punched one after another, evolving the galaxy, destroying the rules, and letting go of the history to roam freely in the starry sky. There were countless casualties in the Black Blood world, and the strongest ones were seriously injured by him. Unfortunately, there were too many enemies, and Zhuli Tianzuan was defeated in the end. At the last moment, he transformed into a fist in the starry sky and evolved into a world of only 1,000 fists. That is his world of rules, and the world of rules will swallow up all the enemies of the Black Blood world in the end. The world of rules roared in the starry sky for a long time. Finally, the most powerful person from the Black Blood world fought out of the world of rules and fled into the distance. The world of rules continued to evolve and finally became the ruins of destruction it is today. From the beginning of Zhuli Tianzuan's cultivation to his final defeat. In fact, Zhuli Tianzuan's life is very monotonous. When he is practicing, he just keeps practicing boxing and boxing. Even if he becomes Tianzuan, he still practices boxing every day. Practicing boxing is the main theme of his entire life, occupying most of his time. Until the war broke out, Julie Tianzuan blocked the human star field with one person, making it difficult for the Black Blood Realm to advance. In order to kill Julie Tianzuan, the Black Blood Realm paid a huge price. The number of dead strong men was countless, and at least 5 strong men at the Tianzuan level were killed. 1 for 5, this battle is not a loss for Julie Tianzuan. In fact, Julie Tianzuan could retreat at that time, and he did not need to die in battle. With his strength, if he wanted to leave, those in the Black Heaven realm would not be able to stop him. But he couldn't retreat. Behind him was the human star field. Once he retreats, the casualties in the human star field will be incalculable. It seems that Julie Tianzuan's feelings for the human race are also very deep. I wonder if Julie Tianzuan lives to the end, will he leave the big world and find his own way like other Tianzuan? Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh. This question is really difficult to answer. The starry sky disappeared, and Lin Moyu found that he was still standing in front of the earth. There is no Yunqiao Palace, no Tongtian Avenue. In front is a huge tombstone, 1 million meters high. The top of the tombstone is like a big fist, trying to break the sky. There are 4 characters engraved on the tombstone, Tomb of Use. Only then did Lin Moyu know that Julie Tianzuan had a very earthy name, Tinyu. His character is, as the name suggests, upright and forward-looking, tenacious and unyielding. Behind the tombstone is a coffin. Most of the coffin is blocked by tombstones, making it difficult to see clearly. The tombstone suddenly burst into light, and a remnant soul flew out of the tombstone, standing in the air and looking at Lin Moyu. The remnant soul of Julie Tianzuan still controls this world of rules after death. The remnant soul evolved into the appearance of Julie Tianzuan, staring at Lin Moyu expressionlessly. Those who trespass will die. As soon as the words fell, a giant fist suddenly condensed in the air and struck down. Lin Moyu was startled and immediately flew back to avoid the giant punch. The giant fist rubbed Lin Moyu's body and hit the ground. The ground roared and the entire land was smashed. An extremely terrifying force rushed from the side, and Lin Moyu was thrown away, with countless blood sprays exploding from his body. But this time he didn't die. His energy and blood were roaring all over his body, and he kept making dragon roars. Lin Moyu himself was also very surprised. I'm not dead. He felt that there was an inexplicable force growing in his body, and it was this force that blocked the punch just now. It's the boxing technique I practiced before, Li Tianzuan's boxing technique. Lin Moyu suddenly realized that the boxing skills he practiced before not only strengthened his physical body, but also left some magical power in his body. These powers cannot be felt at ordinary times, but when they are severely injured, they are activated and explode, blocking a fatal blow for themselves. When these powers exploded, Lin Moyu suddenly had another feeling. He seems to have some connection with this world of rules, and he seems to be able to mobilize some of the power of this world of rules. Suddenly, a soft shout came from my ears, he's not dead yet. As soon as the words fell, another voice came out of nowhere. Lin Moyu has been practicing boxing for a long time, and he almost instinctively punches to meet the attack. His energy and blood boiled like a dragon. This punch was not only an explosion of his own power, but also integrated the power accumulated during previous boxing training. Under this punch, Lin Moyu felt that the power of the regular world was attracted by him and exploded with his punch. Lin Moyu had the illusion that he and Julie Tianzuan worked together to punch. In the roar, Lin Moyu was knocked away, but his eyes were extremely bright. I really triggered the power of the rules world. Yes, I understand everything. The remnant soul only controls part of the power of the rule world, while the other part is controlled by the will of Julie Tianzuan. Will is the cultivation path of Julie Tianzuan and his Taoist heart to protect the human race. I have completed the cultivation path of Julie Tianzuan, and with his recognition, I can mobilize part of the power of the rule world. The remnant soul is not Julie Tianzuan. If it were him, he would not kill the human race. Julie Tianzuan defended the human race and did not take a step back until his death. In his will, how could he kill the human race? This usually taciturn heavenly lord has the deepest love for the human race. After thinking about everything, Lin Moyu looked at Remnant's soul with a light in his eyes. You are not him, and you are not worthy of being him. Lin Moyu turned into a stream of light and killed towards the Remnant soul. Court death. Remnant's soul snorted coldly. Above his head, giant fists appeared one after another, and most of the power in the world was controlled by him. Lin Moyu showed no fear. He raised his fist and also mobilized the power of the rules world. The two forces came from the same origin, but with different wills, they collided with each other. The entire ruins were shaking, as if they were about to shatter. Lin Moyu was blown away, and his body exploded, almost shattering on the spot. But the next second, the immortal flames circulated, and the immortal golden body healed all injuries. Lin Moyu fought back again. Facing the giant fist, he punched out with increasing power. He was practicing boxing, and he was using the boxing skills practiced by Julie Tianzuan. After Julie Tianzuan rushed into the palace and successfully became a disciple, he practiced many boxing techniques. These boxing techniques were memorized by Lin Moyu, and at this time Lin Moyu began to use these boxing techniques. He went from unfamiliar to skilled, punch after punch, getting smoother and smoother. He mobilized more power in the world of rules, and the power of silent words became stronger and stronger. From lagging behind at the beginning, it gradually became evenly matched, and even began to overtake. 0-0. The expressionless remnant soul now had murderous intent in his eyes. How dare you? His power became stronger, and his fists filled the sky, attacking from all directions. Lin Moyu became more and more excited as he fought, laughing loudly. You don't understand at all. That's not how Tianzuan's fists are used. Lin Moyu's boxing skills became more and more fierce, and with every punch, the entire ruin shook. The world was torn into pieces by his fists, making a harsh stabbing sound. Lin Moyu's punches became heavier and heavier, and he had completely suppressed the remaining soul. The remnant soul shouted in disbelief, Impossible, I am Julie Tianzuan, I am his soul, and this world is mine. Lin Moyu laughed loudly, You are just a remnant soul. You don't understand his fists, let alone his will. The remnant soul roared, You're talking nonsense, you're talking nonsense. Lin Moyu laughed loudly, You know whether this is nonsense or not. I will make you give up. Lin Moyu's fist was as powerful as rain, carrying the majestic power of rules, and defeated the remaining soul's fist. Lin Moyu then punched the tombstone. The tombstone was not broken and passed through the tombstone into the coffin behind. The coffin suddenly roared, and a vortex emerged from the sky, wrapping around the coffin like a tornado. With the sound of friction, the coffin slowly opened, and thousands of rays of light shot into the sky, and the Julie Tianzuan appeared in the rays of light. The remnant soul became even more crazy. This is impossible. You are already dead. This is impossible. Julie Tianzuan stared at the remnant soul. A world spirit dares to pretend to be me. You deserve to die. Julie Tianzuan punched out, and the terrifying power swept across the entire world, and the remaining souls were blasted to pieces in the screams. After smashing the remaining soul with one punch, Julie Tianzuan pointed towards Lin Moyu. A ray of light fell on Lin Moyu, and a large number of pictures flashed in front of his eyes, telling Lin Moyu everything. Julie Tianzuan is not good at words, so he used this method to tell Lin Moyu the past. In fact, Julie Tianzuan died a long time ago, and there is nothing in the coffin. The Julie Tianzuan in the glow is actually just his will. Maybe there is a trace of residual soul in it, but the number is so small that even Lin Moyu can't sense it. At that time, Julie Tianzuan transformed his body into a fist, and died together with those in the Black Blood realm, sucking them all in with the rule world of Tianzuan realm. In the world of rules, the final war broke out. The world of rules is Tianzuan's strongest means. In the world of rules, Tianzuan can explode with the most powerful power. The Great War in the world of rules almost broke the world of rules. Only 2 of the strong men in the Black Blood world barely escaped from the 150 world of the rules, and the rest were all killed. Julie Tianzuan had already died in the battle at that time. His body was gone, his soul was about to disappear, and only his will remained. Part of the will is scattered in the world of rules, constantly performing its own path of seeking the truth. Another part of the will replaced the bones and buried himself in the coffin. What Lin Moyu did in the world of rules was equivalent to inheriting the will of Julie Tianzuan and becoming his successor in disguise. The remnant soul that I saw before was not the remnant soul of Julie Tianzuan, but the remnant of the world spirit in the world of rules. Tianzuan's world of rules can create living beings, but of course it is not created out of thin air. It requires the help of external objects. Julie Tianzuan only knows how to practice boxing and is very lazy in other aspects. He created a creature at will to help him take care of the world of rules. This is the world spirit. However, world spirit is the same as Julie Tianzuan. He is not very good at taking care of the world of rules. Julie Tianzuan was just practicing boxing anyway and didn't care about him. In that battle, Julie Tianzuan died in the battle, and the world spirit was also seriously injured, leaving only the remnant soul. The remnant soul was unconscious at first, but after years of evolution, consciousness was reborn. The consciousness he was born was not complete, and he did not have much wisdom, but he could control some of the power in the world of rules. In addition to being dominated by the subconscious mind of Julie Tianzuan, the entire ruins are also managed by the remnant soul of the world spirit. Julie Tianzuan said, "Thank you for waking me up. I didn't expect that I could find a successor before I completely dissipated. I failed to protect the human race. I am not a qualified heavenly lord. But seeing you, I know that the human race is still there, which is really lucky." Lin Moyu looked at Julie Tianzuan and tried to pretend to be relaxed. "Don't worry, the human race is very good." He did not tell the sufferings that the human race had experienced, nor the dangers that the world was about to face. Julie Tianzuan is no longer here, so there is no need for him to worry about the last moment. Julie Tianzuan said, "Your qualifications are better than mine, and you will definitely be stronger than me in the future. I have nothing in this life, only this world of rules can be left to the human race. It's just that this world of rules is a bit shabby." There was a hint of helplessness and reluctance in his words. Julie Tianzuan actually has deep feelings for the human race. He has always had an innocent heart and can reach the position of Tianzuan. Lin Moyu felt that the entire ruins were glowing, and the will of Julie Tianzuan had filled the entire world of rules. This is his world, and he has absolute control over the entire world. The world of rules shrank in the roar, and after a moment, the entire world of rules became only the size of a fist. At this time, Julie Tianzuan's will has almost completely dissipated, and this time it is real death. Julie Tianzuan said loudly, "I leave this Tianzuan realm material to you. I hope you can take him with you and continue fighting as if I am still on the battlefield. If you are lucky enough to meet those comrades, help me give them a message. Tinyu has not retreated." After the words fell, Julie Tianzuan completely turned into smoke and dust and dissipated in the starry sky. The world of rules has become a fist-sized thing with an iron-like appearance. Lin Moyu let out a long sigh and whispered, "Senior, go on your way." The last sentence of Iron Bull did not give up, which is sad. He did not take a step back, and protected a large area of star territory behind him. Lin Moyu felt a surge of anger in his heart and said in a deep voice, "Don't worry, I will bring the message for you. And I want to ask them what they were doing at that time and why they let you face it alone." It is not like Munaner said that Julie Tianzuan fell into the trap of the Black Blood world because of carelessness. He simply blocked the heavenly chamber of the Black Blood heaven realm by his own strength. However, it is said that such a person fell into the trap of the Black Blood world because of carelessness. I don't know if Munaner heard it wrong or if there was another reason. If he can really see other Tianzuan in the future, Lin Moyu must ask clearly. Taking the last relic left by Julie Tianzuan in his hand, Lin Moyu almost couldn't hold it because of its terrifying weight. A small piece of spherical material contains the entire world of rules of the Tianzuan realm. It would be strange if it is not heavy. Tianzuan realm materials are rare even in ancient times. It is not the crystallization of the world. When the world of rules was turned into material just now, Lin Moyu felt the power of the origin. The Zhuli Tianzuan returns all the original power in his world of rules to the big world, and goes back to where he came from. This is the Tianzuan. Lin Moyu respected his approach, so he did not stop the Zhuli Tianzuan. After returning all the original power, all the essence of the rules world was gathered into such a piece of material. Its grade is higher than the regular sacred stone. If there is a heavenly realm weapon refiner in the human race, or a supreme weapon refiner, they can use this material to refine 10 extremely powerful magic weapons. This magic weapon will carry the will of Zhuli Tianzuan and fight for the world again. It's a pity that the human race today has no weapon refiners at the supreme level, not even half-step to the supreme level. This material is destined to gather dust. Holding the materials, Lin Moyu whispered, although there is no weapon refiner worthy of you in the human race, I have a way for you to continue fighting. I hope my method will not humiliate you. Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat, and a ball of flame rose from his palm. The technique that had not been used for many years was used again. White Star Spell, Summon the Elemental Lich. This technique has not been used for a long time, and there is no suitable material, so it has not been used. Now, with the Tianzuan level materials in hand and no suitable weapon refiner, Lin 1.2 Moyu could only think of his own spells. Turn the material into an immortal elemental lich. As long as you are alive, the elemental lich will always exist. The material slowly dissolved in the flames, and Lin Moyu knew that he had the right idea and could summon it. I don't know what kind of elemental lich can be summoned using the materials of Tianzuan realm. Based on past experience, at least there is a supreme. Although I didn't get Tianzuan's remains this time, I got the ancient body refining techniques and the fists of Zhuli Tianzuan, which is already a great gain. I'll do my best, the rest depends on fate. Lin Moyu comforted himself and waited quietly. The material grade is too high and the melting speed is very slow. Lin Moyu is not in a hurry. This time the flames burned for 10 days and finally completely melted the material. The majestic power rises from the flames, and inexplicable rules descend into the flames. Lin Moyu seemed to see the ruins of the great world. The will of Zhuli Tianzuan returned all the original power in his rule world to the great world. But now, its rule world has been summoned into an elemental lich, and the big world has sent back part of its original power. The existence of Tianzuan and the Supreme Being is recognized by the world and is equivalent to one's own people. Although he is not a biological son like the 4 original beasts, in terms of relationship, he is much closer than ordinary people. It is normal for them to use their original power to communicate with each other. The elemental lich is gradually taking shape. With the addition of the original power, the elemental lich becomes stronger. The Supreme Being has not run away, and may be able to go further. As for whether it would be Tianzuan, Lin Moyu had no extravagant hopes. According to past experience, the summoned elemental lich is always one level lower than the material itself. It is a blessing to be able to summon the supreme elemental lich with the materials of Tianzuan realm. Finally, an elemental lich appeared in the flames. He is tall and tall, with a height of 10 meters. Unlike other elemental liches, he possesses an extremely real body. On the surface, he is full of explosive power. The upper body of 06 looked no different from the human race, but the lower body was shrouded in flames, making it impossible to see what was going on inside. After the elemental lich appeared, he knelt respectfully in front of Lin Moyu, and Lin Moyu got his information immediately. Divine Lich. Realm, Peak Supreme. Grade, Perfect. Growth limit, none. Spell, break all magic with one punch, the avenue of power. Break all laws with one punch, use pure power to attack the target, which can break all laws, destroy rules, crush souls, and nothing can be broken. Avenue of Strength. Invoke the power of the avenue and increase oneself. With the blessing of the Avenue of Strength, the power of the next 3 punches will increase 10 times, 100 times, and 1,000 times respectively. After 3 punches, it will enter a cooldown. The cooldown times are 10 minutes, 100 minutes, and 1,000 minutes. Looking at the attributes of the Divine Lich, Lin Moyu murmured, "It is indeed the pinnacle supreme, just as I thought. The level has reached perfection, and it is 1 level higher than the higher level. It's just this growth. Forget it, ignore it, it is probably difficult to find the corresponding materials, so I can only let it happen. The technique is quite simple. It can defeat all magic with 1 punch. It is very similar to the idea of the powerful god. On the contrary, this avenue of power has such meaning. The 3 punches are divided into 3 stages, with 3 different cooling times. If you only use 1 punch, you can punch 1 punch every 10 minutes, 10 times the attack. The 10 times the attack of the Peak Supreme, it will not be too far behind the Tianzuan. If the 3rd punch is 1,000 times more powerful, it will probably be comparable to Tianzuan. The Pinnacle Supreme is the strongest among the Supreme. In ancient times, they had another name, Half-Step Heavenly Lord. Those powerful Peak Supremes are actually not much worse than Tianzuan in terms of tens of thousands. The difference lies in some means, rules world, soul, etc. If it increases another 1,000 times, it can indeed be compared with Tianzuan. Lin Moyu looked at the Divine Lich and always felt that it seemed to be missing something. After thinking for a moment, Lin Moyu realized that something was missing. The Divine Lich is a bit dull and has no intelligence. Although it can also command, it is not flexible enough. If he can possess wisdom and can think independently, then his combat power cannot be improved. Wisdom, this is simple. Come in. Lin Moyu opens the soul world and takes the gods and demons into the soul world. There are still 40 spiritual flowers blooming on the world tree, but no one has used them. The magical lich was wrapped in the spirit flower and began to conceive for the 2nd time. Seeing the shattered ruins that had disappeared from the world and the complete departure of Julie Tianzuan, Lin Moyu couldn't help but feel desolate. Tianzuan finally left one day, and suddenly he understood a little about those Tianzuan who left. If you don't want to die, no one wants to die. How could those heavenly lords be willing to do so when they knew that if they stayed in the big world, they could only wait for death slowly? Each of them is a top genius in the world, and each of them is born to pursue the great road. How could they give up just like that? Leaving became their inevitable choice and the only choice. Lin Moyu whispered, "Although I understand, I disagree. You can leave if you want, but you shouldn't take away the original power and make the world more injured. It's not your fault that you left, but it's your fault that you hurt the world." Lin Moyu seems to have a resonance with the big world. It is the big world that gives them their original power and the position of heaven. As a result, after these Tianzans were injured in the big world, they added salt to the wounds, which was excessive. Lin Moyu took a deep breath and said, "In the future, I will not only ask Julie Tianzuan what you are doing. I will also ask you what you have done for the world." Lin Moyu turned around and left, disappearing into the Dark Minister. There are still 2 ruins outside the territory waiting for him to explore. Even if there are no remains of Tianzuan inside, he may be able to find the remains of the Peak Supreme One. We don't know the strength of the Dojia, but it's always good to have more power. Huge changes have occurred in the human star field. Huge space gates have appeared in the starry sky. The starry skyfish human race has taken out the best things in the box and built a large number of space gates for the human race. The space gate can travel tens of thousands of light years in an instant, is faster than the teleportation array, and saves the trouble of transit. The space gate is not easy to build, and the materials are hard to find. The 2 races combined their efforts to build no more than 1 gate, which is distributed on the periphery of the human star field. Once a war breaks out, wherever support is needed, we can arrive as soon as possible. Above the human divine city, a bright law galaxy appeared. This law galaxy has no majestic momentum, only hazy and illusory. After it appears, the entire divine city becomes dreamy. Countless people in the divine city look towards the sky and towards the galaxy of laws that enveloped the entire divine city. There was no panic in their eyes, only surprise. Because they have never seen such a huge law galaxy. As for the danger, there is definitely no danger. There is no movement on Manhuang network, so there will definitely be no problem. They did not see a person sitting in the center of Law Galaxy 017. Behind Xiao Wu, an equally hazy world is taking shape. This world is full of fantasy and has countless strange elements. Many things from myths and legends appear in Xiao Wu's world. The world of rules is the private property of the Holy Lord. Everything in the world of rules is decided by the Holy Lord himself. Xiao Wu's rule world is definitely the most peculiar existence among all rule worlds. Xiao Lu herself is not like other saints who have systematic cultivation. She has been blessed by the two heavenly masters. She cultivates very quickly. At the same time, she has transformed from a weapon spirit into an adult, with a mind like a child. Her world of rules is magical and confusing, with everything there, and some things even she herself can't explain. In front of the central hall of the divine city, Xingzuan Wu and Xingzuan Fu were drinking tea. Xingzuan Hao was smiling. Xiao Wu has finally become a saint. I wonder if there will be a chance to become a half-step supreme before the doji arrives. Both of them knew Xiao Wu's cultivation speed. Just because others were not good at it, it didn't mean Xiao Yuan was not good at it. Fu Xingzuan said, Xiao Wu has a chance, and you also have a chance, but I can't. Saint Hao said, thanks to the fruit given by Xiao Yulin, my world of rules has become more powerful, and it has also given me some opportunities. Half-step supreme may not be useful, but it is better than nothing. Several saints know this very well. The fruit of the world that Lin Moyu gave them brought them hope and gave them the opportunity to peek into the realm of half-step supreme. Amidst the roar, the door of the main hall, which had been closed for hundreds of years, slowly opened. The wandering time can be long or short, ranging from a year and a half to tens or hundreds of years. The time of each fugue's wandering is difficult to control, and even Tian Xingzuan himself cannot predict it. The heavenly saint has been traveling for hundreds of years this time, and his experiences during this period must have been extremely rich. Saint Hao and Saint Fu looked at each other and walked into the central hall at the same time. Tian Xingzuan sat with his eyes closed and was sorting out the information about this fugue. The two of them were not in a hurry and waited quietly. The data collected over a century is so huge that it cannot be completed in a matter of seconds. The two saints were very patient. After waiting for a full day, the Saint Tian finally opened his eyes. He exhaled a long breath, which turned into mist and lingered in the central hall for a long time. Tian Xingzuan said in a low voice, I've kept you waiting for a long time. A smile appeared on Saint Hao's face. It seems to have paid off. Fu Xingzuan also asked, have you entered the fighting world again this time? Tian Xingzuan nodded slowly. Fortunately, I went in again. Xiao Wu's luck technique and Fu Xingzuan's rune guidance all worked. Holy Lord Hao nodded. More than 100 years, this time is long enough. Do you see any gains? There was a hint of excitement on Tian Xingzuan's face. I have gained a lot. This time I entered a big city in Dojie. This city is thousands of times larger than the one I went to last time. And the person I chose is very special. Although he is just a sea-dividing fighter, he has a special identity. He is the grandson of the city lord of that city, and the city lord is a star. Because he had no talent for cultivation, he was assigned to manage a library. Over the past 100 years, he has read many books and let me know a lot of information about the fighting world, which is far richer than last time. Also because of his identity, he can get a lot of information and know some of the things that are happening in the fighting world. Listening to Tian Xingzuan's description, He Xingzuan and Fu Xingzuan got excited at the same time. This is a big harvest. This information is too precious for them. The people in the central hall flashed with light, and the human emperor and Xing Lao appeared at the same time. They also wanted to listen to the detailed situation in Dojie from the heavenly saint. Tianqingzuan told the information he had obtained in Dojie, and Qiuhuan quickly recorded and summarized it. The structure of Dojie is different from that of the big world. They do not have multiple races, only Dojie people. The race is homogeneous, but the internal contradictions are not small. They also have multiple camps, which are separated from each other and fight with each other. There are no stars in Dojie, only continents. The strong men built cities on the mainland and worked on their own affairs. The information in the fighting world is also on the ownerless continents, and the various camps are fighting fiercely for resources. In the past 100 years, the Weixing continent controlled by the Heavenly Saint Lord and their family has been at war with other continents. There were some particularly fierce battles, and even the starfighters took action. The Star Warriors are definitely the Supremes, and there are not many such Supremes. Thanks to the fact that the possessed person manages a library and also likes reading, Tianqingzuan received a large amount of information accordingly. There are hundreds of continents with starfighters in the fighting world. There are many cities on every continent, and many of them are guarded by Star Warriors. As for the continents where there are no starfighters, the number is even more difficult to count. Because they fight all year round, people in the fighting world are very militant and have very strong fighting ability. For those small continents, starfighters are legendary existences, but for some powerful continents, starfighters are real. But it is a pity that even in Weixing continent, there is still no real information about Do Emperor, and it is not even possible to judge whether Do Emperor really exists. There are 100 continents with Star Warriors in the Dojie. The Weixing continent ranks 56th, which is middle class. It is said that the 10 continents ranked in the top 10 are the truly powerful existences. The Star Warriors inside are 10 levels stronger than the Star Warriors in other continents in terms of strength and quantity. Perhaps only they can know some of the more secret things. In addition to knowing the pattern of the fighting world during this journey, there is also one very important thing. Dojie already knows about the existence of the big world, and also knows that in 1,000 years, the two worlds are about to collide. This news is currently only circulated among the Star Warriors, and Tianqingzuan only learned of it accidentally because of the special identity of the possessed person. After listening to Tianqingzuan's description, Xing Lao said in a deep voice, with the warlike characteristics of Dojie people, they don't know what they will think after they know that they are about to encounter the big world. The human emperor said, the big world seems powerful, but it is actually strong on the outside and weak on the inside. If there really is a peak supreme in the fighting world, you will be able to see this. They may regard the big world as an opportunity for the fighting world to rise in one fell swoop. According to what Lin Xiaoyu said, there is currently no Tianzuan in Dojie. They need a big opportunity to give birth to Tianzuan. Perhaps their Do Emperor will regard this as an opportunity. The implication of the human emperor's words was that he had already acquiesced in Do Emperor's existence. Only by thinking about the worst in everything and preparing for the worst can we achieve better results. Tianqingzuan said, the Dojie has had the experience of encountering other worlds, and they have also devoured several weaker worlds. But unlike the big world, they slaughtered all the worlds they devoured and left nothing behind. The fighting world is not only warlike, but also cruel, at least more cruel than the previous big world. Xing Lao sneered, I think they are right to do this. The great world in the past was too kind, which led to the current results. The human emperor said, I will sort out the data later, and we have to prepare for the worst. Heavenly Saint, please elaborate on the information about the origin of Doxing. The more complete the information, the more accurate the human emperor's analysis can be. Saint Hao said, I'll tell you Chime about the fighting world so that he can make preparations. Saint Hao's tone was a little heavy. Judging from the information said by Saint Heaven, just 100 supreme beings could crush them to death. If it were placed in ancient times, 100 saints would be nothing at all. A world like Dojie could be destroyed by raising a hand. But now, there is not even a supreme being in the human race. Relying on them alone, there is no hope at all. The only hope now is Lin Moyu. Not only Hao Xingzuan thought so, Fu Xingzuan also had the same idea. Fu Xingzuan sighed, I don't know what Lin Xiaoyou's harvest will be. 100 years have passed since he left the territory, and there has been no news about him. Saint Hao said, Xiao Wu said that Xiao Yu Lin was not in danger and should be fine. Maybe it was because of some delays. After all, it's so big outside the territory, so it's normal to encounter some things. Lin Xiaoyu has the law of space and the law of time, so don't worry. At this time, the human emperor suddenly frowned and said in a deep voice, finally left. Xing Lao was the only one who knew the meaning of the human emperor's words, are you sure? The emperor nodded, definitely by it. Old Xing said, it's okay to leave. When Xiao Yu Lin comes back, remember to tell him. The conversation between the two was a bit strange, and several saints did not understand it. But they had no intention of explaining, and the saints didn't ask any more questions. Flowing Light Ruins, one of the 3 dangerous ruins outside the territory. Lin Moyu entered here 100 years ago and never came out again. Inside, Lin Moyu experienced a dreamlike journey, and it was not until 100 years later that he left the distance. After Lin Moyu left, the ruins turned into a stream of light, flew into the deep space outside the territory, and disappeared. Lin Moyu let out a long sigh, with a slight disappointment in his eyes. This ruin is not left by the supreme human race, but by a starry sky beast that has cultivated to the peak of supreme supremacy. This giant beast in the starry sky once participated in the great battles of ancient times and fought a life-and-death battle with the Black Blood realm. Later, he was seriously injured and fell into a deep sleep. While sleeping, he enveloped his body with his own world of rules and traveled far away from the territory. While sleeping, the world of rules evolves naturally, eventually forming the ruins of the streamer. This giant beast in the starry sky is called the Starlight Beast, and it has complete laws of starlight and part of the laws of time. Because of the existence of the law of time, time has not left many traces on him, and Starlight Beast has been living until now. The arrival of Lin Moyu caused Starlight Beast to wake up from its slumber, and he was quite friendly to Lin Moyu. It's not because Lin Moyu is a human race, it's just because Lin Moyu also possesses the law of time and the law of starlight. After Lin Moyu explained his intention, Starlight Beast rejected Lin Moyu. The human race is the human race, the big world is the big world, and the Starlight Beast is the Starlight Beast. As a citizen of the great world, Starlight Beast once fought for the great world and almost died in the battle. This was enough. In his opinion, 433 has made peace with the big world. As for fighting for the human race, it is even more impossible. After sleeping for 2 million years, and now recovering from his injuries, Starlight Beast decided to leave the big world and find his own way. He has an ideal and wants to become a god. As for the original power given to him by the big world, he must also take it away with him. Starlight Beast's reason is very good. He almost died fighting for the great world, and he no longer owes the great world anything. Lin Moyu couldn't stop it because he couldn't find any reason to stop it. Starlight Beast gave Lin Moyu something, saying it was a gift for him because he also mastered the laws of time and the laws of starlight. Then he left without looking back. The peak in Supreme Starlight Beast has the ability to break through the world's barriers and go to the boundary sea. Lin Moyu could only say silently, wishing him good luck. Looking at the items in his hands, Lin Moyu whispered, he must have gained something. Although the Starlight Crystal is not the original crystal, it is still the accumulation of millions of years of Starlight Beast. While the Starlight Beast was recuperating from his injuries, he used his own Starlight Law and Time Law, and added a touch of original power to condense the Starlight Crystal. In 2 million years, only 2 pieces were condensed. One of the Starlight Beasts was given to Lin Moyu, which is very generous, mainly because Lin Moyu woke him up. Without Lin Moyu, he might have stayed asleep for many more years. Maybe when the big world is destroyed, he won't wake up yet, and he will have no choice but to die with the big world. From another perspective, Lin Moyu can be regarded as saving him. Starlight Crystal has only one function, because it contains a trace of original power, which can promote a half-step supreme to the supreme realm. Because he has not stepped on the divine path and has not been recognized by the big world, the supreme who was promoted by borrowing starlight crystals has the weakest combat power among the supremes. It is not even comparable to some tyrannical half-step supreme beings, but after becoming a supreme being, one's lifespan can be doubled. In ancient times, there were some hopeless half-step supremes who would use this method to make themselves live longer. Let's talk about the future in the future. Naturally, Lin Moyu would not use this method to advance to the supreme level. He looked down upon him at all. No matter what, the starlight crystal is a good thing, and it can be regarded as the gain of his trip. What Lin Moyu didn't expect was that time was chaotic in Liuguang ruins. He felt that he had not been in the ruins for long, but it turned out that more than 100 years had passed outside. Now there are only 1,000 years left before the arrival of the Dojie. Calculating the time, the date agreed with Senior Hongxing is coming soon. I don't know how prepared Senior Hongxing is. Lin Moyu thought in his mind, put away the starlight crystal, opened the door to space, and headed to the area where the Red Star Supreme was. When he got there, he found that the Red Star Supreme had disappeared. Red Star Supreme said that he had to make some preparations, and he obviously made preparations. The Red Star Supreme was not here, and Lin Moyu did not stay long. The door to space opened again, and Lin Moyu went to the last ruins. When he arrived at the location, he found that the ruins were also missing. This ruin called Blood Spring has existed for millions of years, but now it suddenly disappeared. Lin Moyu stood in the starry sky and could vaguely feel the traces of the ruins' past existence. In addition to the ruins, there seemed to be other auras remaining. Someone came here and took away the relics. The ancient ruins are at least left by the pinnacle supreme being, and the one who can pack up the ruins and take them away is at least the supreme being. Who is it? Why are they taking away the relics, and what is their purpose? It seems that there are still supreme beings alive in this world. Apart from special beings like Starlight Beast and Red Star Supreme, how can there be supreme beings still alive? Lin Moyu couldn't figure it out. It was impossible for a human card to survive for more than 2 million yuan. Who will come then? After searching around the ruins for a long time and finding nothing, Lin Moyu could only turn around and leave. He did not return to the territory, but continued towards the depths outside the territory. Holy Talisman Tianzuan said that if there is really danger in the big world, after he arrives at Holy Lord, he can look for the ghost tribe and maybe get help. The ghost race is real and is a powerful race created by a certain deity. After getting the names of the 8 ancient heavenly lords from Munaner, Lin Moyu guessed that the ghost race was created by the soul heavenly lords. Back then, the ghost clan once showed great combat power, but then disappeared for unknown reasons. Some people speculate that the ghost tribe died in a great battle, but since Holy Talisman Tianzuan said this, it proves that the ghost tribe still exists. If there is none within the territory, it must be outside the territory. Lin Moyu opens the door to space again and again, 100,000 light-years each time, and penetrates deep into extraterrestrial space at an astonishing speed. At the same time, he did not forget to take out the Dragon Ball and look for traces of the Dragon Ball. Only by retrieving the Dragon Ball can Tianlong take action when the fighting world comes, otherwise Tianlong will most likely stand by and watch. Tianlong's combat power is by no means inferior to that of the Peak Supreme. He can be regarded as a Peak Supreme thug. Since seeing the main body of the big world in the Boundary Sea, Lin Moyu has had a rough estimate of the size of the outside world. The entire space within the domain is approximately 2 million light-years in diameter. 2 million light-years only occupies a very small part of the entire big world. The diameter of the entire big world should be about tens of millions of light-years. Excluding the 2 million light-years in the inner space, the diameter of the outer space is as high as 8 million light-years. The extraterritorial space is like a big ball, enveloping the entire inner space. It is obviously unrealistic to conduct a blanket search in extraterritorial space. Not to mention that Lin Moyu only has a few billion skeletons, even 100 times more is just a drop in the ocean. In such a vast world, finding the Dragon Balls and the Ghost Tribe is no more difficult than finding a needle in a haystack. Lin Moyu has only one way to do this: rely on luck. He used explosive luck to increase his luck to the limit, and the dragon's roar kept ringing in his ears. Luck is also a part of strength. Lin Moyu whispered, and suddenly he felt a breath of fresh air coming from a distance and falling on him. The sound of the dragon's roar in Lin Moyu's ears became louder and clearer. He felt that his luck had skyrocketed again, breaking through the limit and reaching another level. Using the explosive luck technique to check, Lin Moyu could no longer see the numerical value, only seeing a bright red area. Xiao Wu, you have reached the Holy Lord. Lin Moyu knew where the Qing Qi came from. It was after Xiao Wu broke through to the Saint Realm that he strengthened his luck. Looking at the entire human race, only Xiao Wu can achieve this ability. Lin Moyu said with a smile, with enhanced luck and my explosive luck, I can always find some clues. Luck and luck surged at the same time, and his soul became much clearer. Lin Moyu chose the direction at will and opened the door to space. He doesn't know his own direction, and he doesn't care about the direction. Everything depends on his feeling. The direction is constantly changing, and the outer space is vast and boundless as he soars. After traveling through light years, Lin Moyu suddenly saw a city. This city has been beaten to pieces, and the buildings inside have been completely destroyed. However, Lin Moyu could still recognize that this city was a city from ancient times, where people lived and where the battlefield was located in the middle of the western section. The current divine city of the human race was built on the basis of the ancient city, and the soul city where Munanner was located was 89 times similar to him. The Soul City is a magic weapon that can accommodate souls, has the power of reality, and is a terrifying magic weapon that exists in both illusion and reality. And this broken city is a battlefield in ancient times. It can be seen that it has experienced countless battles, otherwise it would be beaten like this. The glory of the past has been completely buried by time, and he can only wander freely outside the boundless territory. Lin Moyu sighed, I'll take you home. The ancient talisman flew out, and he wanted to take this ancient human city back. No matter how dilapidated the ancient city is, this is the treasure of the human race. Now that we have seen it, we cannot let it wander outside. The ancient talisman is spread out into a vast space that can accommodate a galaxy. Even though the ancient city is large, it is still large enough to contain it. Seeing the ancient city gradually shrinking and trying to contain the ancient talismans, Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh. There are still many unsolved mysteries about ancient things. Where did those ancient battlefields in the Divine City Star territory come from, and what do they have to do with Teacher Ming? It's so puzzling. Putting away the ancient city, Lin Moyu set sail again, searching aimlessly. The Dragon Ball has never found any trace of the fourth Dragon Ball, and Lin Moyu is not in a hurry. The Dragon Ball is not so easy to find. Day after day, Lin Moyu continues to explore outside the territory. Not only him, he also released a large number of skeleton god generals. Although for the vast outside world, the number of skeleton god generals is only a drop in the ocean, which is better than none. Every once in a while, a breath of fresh air comes. Xiao Wu has always been improving Lin Moyu's luck, and the explosive luck technique has never stopped. After flying aimlessly for 5 years, I saw a few things left over from ancient times, but unfortunately they were all broken. As time goes by, even the treasures that were perfect at the time turned into a pile of garbage after 2 million years. 5 years later, Lin Moyu was more than 3 million light years away from the inner space and still 1 million light years away from the edge of the world. Here, he could already vaguely feel the breath of the boundary sea. The original power of the big world has been greatly weakened, and it has lost control of the edge areas. The power of the boundary sea seeps in, making this area very dangerous. After arriving here, Lin Moyu also became much more cautious. The strange fish in the Boundary Sea impressed him deeply. Fortunately, this is not a Boundary Sea, and spells such as undead are still effective. It would be great if some origin crystals could come in through the Boundary Sea. Lin Moyu felt that he was a little fanciful. How could the original crystal be obtained so easily? This thing is extremely rare to begin with, and it is estimated that there will be many strong people looking for it in the Boundary Sea. As the distance from the edge gets closer and closer, the breadth of the Boundary Sea becomes more and more obvious. A month later, Lin Moyu suddenly felt a familiar atmosphere. In the dim void, a colorful color appeared. The brilliance in the darkness was extremely eye-catching, and Lin Moyu quickly traveled hundreds of millions of kilometers to get close to the eye. Water of many colors? Lin Moyu was stunned for a moment. Water of many colors appeared here. The water of 10,000 colors is called the ancestor of 10,000 colors. After he wanted to cross the other side, he once saw the scene where the 10,000 immortals waterfall gathered into the water of 10,000 colors. Once you see the huge gourd, you will never forget it. At that time, he felt strange why colorful water appeared in the dark void. Logically speaking, the colorful water should not appear there. Until now, he finally understood. Here, a huge gap opened in the space, and the aura of the original sea was extremely strong. The power of the Boundary Sea poured in through the gap, and the great world was extremely powerless here, and could never repair this gap. The colorful water flows in through this gap, falling drop by drop into the big world, and then disappears again. The colorful water will not stay in the surface space, it will directly enter the deep space. The laws of space beat, and Lin Moyu immediately got into the deep space. In the deep space, he saw the colorful water meandering and flowing, forming a small river, flowing into the distance like an underground river. Lin Moyu followed the underground river, but lost the trace after a while. The colorful water seemed to penetrate the deep space and go to other places in a way that even Lin Moyu could not understand. Lin Moyu had a clear understanding. Countless laws converged into the gourd, flowed out through the gourd, and became colorful water. I don't know where the colorful water in the gourd flows. Maybe I'm lucky and a little of it flows here. Through this gap, you enter the big world and become the colorful water of the big world. The colorful water continues to evolve, eventually forming the ancient well of ancestral water, and erupts regularly in the dark void. By this time, the water of many colors has been infected with the power of the big world, and it is different from the original water of many colors. Although the ancient well of ancestral water I obtained can continuously produce water of various colors in the big world, it will actually be of no use if it is taken to the Boundary Sea. Lin Moyu felt that he should have sorted out his thoughts and understood what was going on. The colorful water is not a native product of the big world, it is also something from the outside world. Only after entering the big world, some changes occurred. The multicolored water in front of him was a little different from the multicolored water he got. Obviously, the colorful water in front of him is more original and its effect is more powerful. When it was not contaminated by the atmosphere of the big world, Shikatsu Shui was the ancestor of Feng Shui. Lin Moyu's heart moved. If the Zhu Shui ancient well is allowed to carry the original colorful water, can it change it? As soon as he thought of it, Lin Moyu immediately took out the ancient well of ancestor water and put it in the gap to receive the original water of many colors. The frequency of water falling is not high, and it is very irregular. Sometimes it only takes 1 hour for a drop to fall, and sometimes it takes 10 minutes for a drop to fall. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry, he waited patiently, waiting for the colorful water to drip into the well. Time passed day by day, and as more and more colorful water dripped in, some changes finally occurred in Shuigu. The original colorful water drips very slowly, with an average of only a few drops a day. Lin Moyu waited for almost 30 days, and when he received 1,000 drops, the Zhu Shui ancient well finally changed. Colorful colors erupted from the well, turning into different colors and covering Lin Moyu. A gorgeous picture appeared before Lin Moyu's eyes again, and the wonders of thousands of waters and waterfalls appeared again. Various laws fall from the waterfall and finally converge into the gourd. The gourd is full of loopholes. After these laws enter the gourd and rotate around, it turns into colorful water, flowing out from all the loopholes. I don't know where to go. Lin Moyu had seen this scene when he was promoted to the other side. Lin Moyu guessed that these colorful waters might flow to all worlds. Suddenly, a stream of colorful water magnified in front of his eyes, and the scene suddenly changed. Lin Moyu realized that what he saw was the colorful water in front of him. In the picture, this colorful water flows out from the gourd, passes through a strange 577 space, and then disperses. Some of them continued to penetrate time and space, and were finally collected here. Lin Moyu finally understood how the colorful water in front of him came from. The colorful water comes from one of the countless holes in that gourd. And it's not all of it, just a small part of that stock, which can be considered insignificant. That gourd can gather countless laws into colorful water. It is the real treasure. Just the multicolored water he obtained, which had been diluted by evolution, had such miraculous effects. Now that we have the original multicolored water, I think the effect will be even more amazing. The picture in front of him changed again, and Lin Moyu saw the gourd again. Lin Moyu's eyes shrank sharply. The picture he saw was different this time. There were more people beside the gourd, both men and women, about a dozen people. They hold magic weapons that are like wells, and they are collecting colorful water under the gourd. They were all like children, laughing and joking, looking very happy. The magic weapon he holds in his hand looks like Zhu Shuiji. Obviously, the reason why the colorful water evolved into the ancient well of ancestral water should be related to this. The gourd has a spirit, and the colorful water transformed from it seems to have some spirituality. Lin Moyu felt a little horrified, wondering where the gourd was and why would anyone come to get the colorful water. Vaguely, Lin Moyu felt that that place should be extremely mysterious, and he shouldn't peek, as it might be dangerous. At this time, a gentle voice sounded, as the saying goes, things only happen in threes. This is the third time I see this scene, so it is considered fate. I will use a drop of the essence of ancestral water to form a good relationship with the little friend. If the little friend can come in person in the future, Tu Tian will invite the little friend to drink tea. The sudden sound shocked Lin Moyu, and then he saw a kind-hearted old man looking at him among the clouds behind the gourd. It's obviously very far away, but you can see yourself through time and space. Not only did he see himself, but he also allowed himself to see him. The old finger flicked, and a drop of light flew out from the fingertips, traveling through space and time in an instant, and fell into his hand violently. The picture in front of me completely dissipated, there was no luster, and there was no gourd. If it weren't for the essence of ancestral water in his hand, Lin Moyu would have felt that it was just a dream. The void returned to darkness again, and the only light was the slowly dripping colorful water. The original version of colorful water fell into the ancient well of Zushui and was transforming the ancient well of Zushui. The transformation will take some time. Lin Moyu is not in a hurry, he has enough patience to wait. He could feel that Zushui ancient well was getting stronger. Such an experience made Lin Moyu know about Wankezi Shui. In fact, his real name is Zhu Shui. The water of colors is just a name given to it in the big world, and its real name is Zhu Shui. After the ancestral water is diluted, it becomes colorful water. The difference between the two is very big. He was looking forward to how powerful Zhu Shui was. But before that, Lin Moyu turned his attention to the essence of forming water. The unfathomable old man said that he would use a drop of ancestral water essence to form a good relationship with him, and he also said that he had been there 3 times. Once in the other shore realm, once when the ancestral water was activated just now, and again after knowing the ins and outs. This counts as 3 times. It only takes 3 things. 1 to 3 means destiny. In other words, he knows all the times I have seen Hulu. What kind of place is there? It feels a bit scary. Lin Moyu's thoughts were in confusion, and he was also looking at the essence of ancestral water. The essence of ancestral water is only as big as a fingernail and does not emit all kinds of light like ancestral water. It is extremely pure. Lin Moyu can feel this purity. It is the purest thing he has ever seen in his life. The essence of ancestral water, as the name suggests, is the essence of ancestral water. The ancestral water is extremely complex and contains thousands of laws. But the essence of ancestral water is extremely pure, extremely pure. Lin Moyu once again understood what it means that things must reverse when they reach their extremes. This is very similar to the law of immortality. He studied for a long time, but couldn't find a reason. It can only be said that the essence of ancestral water is too high-end, and his level of knowledge is far from enough. If you have a chance, ask Tianlong. Maybe he can know. And Talus must know, but I don't know how long it will take for this guy to come out. He keeps delaying and moving too slowly. Lin Moyu believes that Antares will definitely come out, but it is not clear when. A year later, the ancient well of ancestral water was finally filled with ancestral water, no more, no less, exactly 10,000 drops. Zushui ancient well also completed its transformation, becoming more refined and beautiful. It's exactly the same as the ancient wells in the hands of those children. It's a bit interesting. I don't know how effective the ancestral water is. Lin Moyu wanted to give it a try, but suddenly found that the gap where the ancestral water was dripping was gradually getting smaller and was about to disappear. This gap has existed for countless years, and has existed since ancient times, and it is about to disappear. Lin Moyu instinctively thought of the old man. He should have done it. Who is this person? Why did he do this? But having said that, if he really did it, he was pretty good. At least he let me fill the ancient well. What is the identity of that old man? It seems that nothing can be hidden from him. He is somewhat similar to the old man in green robe in the small world. The two are not the same person, Lin Moyu is very sure, but they both have many similarities and are equally unfathomable. The gap soon disappeared, and the world was no longer supplied with ancestral water. Without the ancestral water, there will be no colorful water. Fortunately, the big world has countless years of accumulation. The number is so frightening that time is simply not used up. Wankai water evolved into Zushui Ancient Well, and Zushui Ancient Well is actually Wankai 3.5 water. As the water in the well is used, a little will produce a little more, until all is used up. On the other hand, the original ancestral water in my hand should be used one drop at a time. Once it is used up, it will be gone. Take it from Lu. Lin Moyu knew very well that he would not be able to survive. Ignore it for now, let's try its power. Lin Moyu pointed his finger, the immortal flame exploded, and the Skeleton King appeared in the starry sky. At this time, the Skeleton King has the combat power of a half-step supreme, and he is the strongest among the half-step supreme. He is only a little short of the true supreme. Even the former demon lord may not be the opponent of the Skeleton King. Lin Moyu felt distressed and took out a drop of ancestral water and dropped it on the Skeleton King. Flames exploded all over the Skeleton King's body, and a terrifying aura shot straight into the sky. The galaxy of laws of bones appeared automatically, and then the galaxy of laws turned into a waterfall. A world of bones evolved behind the Skeleton King, and a terrifying aura rushed out of the world of bones. Supreme. Witness the Skeleton King entering the Supreme Realm in a very short time. Lin Moyu is a little unbelievable. Previously, the Skeleton King was only one step away from being supreme, half a step towards the peak of supreme being. The ancestral water greatly improved the Skeleton King's combat power, allowing it to directly enter the Supreme Realm. At least a tenfold increase. Lin Moyu made an estimate and couldn't help but be a little surprised. The effect of the original colorful water was far beyond his imagination. This is just a drop. What if there is another drop? Thinking in his mind, he extravagantly threw out a drop of ancestral water. The second drop of ancestral water fell on the Skeleton King, and the skeleton's momentum increased again. The Skeleton King is a little stronger again, but the improvement this time is far less than the previous one. Lin Moyu made an estimate and said, the Skeleton King's combat power is almost the same as that of the Bone Battle formation. With a thought in his heart, the third drop of colorful water flew out. The Skeleton King's combat power has increased a bit again, but this time the increase is smaller. Then the fourth drop, then the fifth drop. The momentum of the Skeleton King is getting stronger and stronger, and after 5 drops, it will almost reach the Supreme Intermediate level. As far as Lin Moyu knows, the Supreme Strength is roughly divided into low, middle, high, third level, and peak level. After receiving 5 drops of ancestral water, the Skeleton King's strength is close to the Supreme Intermediate level, which is also its limit. Lin Moyu evaluated and thought, if you continue to use the ancestral water regardless of the cost of 0.6, the Skeleton King's combat power can be further improved, but the extent will become smaller and smaller. Maybe no matter how much ancestral water is used, the Skeleton King will not be able to break through to the Supreme Intermediate level. The effect of ancestral water is stronger than that of Wankai water, but the marginal effect is more obvious, so there is no need to use it more. Lin Moyu has the idea in mind that when only 1 or 2 drops are used, the effect of ancestral water is strongest. 3 to 5 drops will still be effective, but the effect will be greatly weakened. If you don't pursue the limit, there is no need to use the third drop. Overall, the existence of Zhu Shui allowed him to have 25 Skeleton Kings who were comparable to the Supreme ones. Ancestor water can be used in various places, and all spells and battle formations. Lin Moyu thought about various application scenarios and discovered that the existence of Zhu Shui at least doubled his combat power. In comparison, water of 10,000 colors is really weak. What a good thing! Being able to obtain ancestral water during this trip was beyond expectations, and Lin Moyu was extremely satisfied. He is not greedy. Although he did not find the Ghost Clan and the Dragon Ball, it is already good that he can find the ancestral water. Boom! The starry sky shook, and the soul was startled, sensing that something had happened in the starry sky a light year away. The change was so severe that Gao Guanyin could feel it. Even if there is a battle between Saint Lord realms, it is difficult for the aftermath of the battle to spread beyond a light year. The starry sky has been shaking and roaring. This kind of roar cannot be heard by ordinary people, and only people with strong spiritual senses like Lin Moyu can sense it. Lin Moyu's heart moved and he immediately opened the door to space. The heaven and earth a light year away shook more and more violently, and the roar resounded through the soul, like a heavy hammer falling on the soul. The sound of water was surging, and Lin Moyu frowned as soon as he came here. This place has become a watery world, and the barrier of the big world seems to have broken a big hole, and the water of the boundary sea is pouring in crazily. This gap is so big that no margin can be seen. Lin Moyu stood in the distance and whispered to himself, although the big world has lost most of its control here, the world itself still remains relatively intact. It shouldn't happen too often that a big hole is opened and the boundary sea pours in. He vaguely felt that it was not simple that a big hole suddenly appeared in the world. As the boundary sea rolled, Lin Moyu suddenly felt a touch of space power, and at the same time, a light lit up from the boundary sea. Someone. There were actually people in the boundary sea that poured in. Before he could see clearly, with a bang, waves exploded from the boundary sea, rolling and rising towards the sky. A strange fish with a ball-like body was blown out and escaped from the boundary sea. The strange fish kept roaring, with panic in its voice, and its feathers were swaying wildly, as if it was struggling. But its struggle is useless. There is a layer of space rules surrounding it. The space with distorted space rules instantly made it hundreds of millions of miles away from the boundary sea. In the distortion of space, a space gate opened hundreds of millions of miles away. The two people rushed out of the space gate and fought with the strange fish. The strange fish struggled wildly, but it was of no use and was completely suppressed. The two of them cooperated tacitly, one controlled the space, used the rules of the space to strangle, and restricted the movements of the strange fish. Another person was holding a sharp sword and kept cutting wounds on the strange fish, as if he wanted to disembowel the strange fish and chop it into pieces. Lin Moyu watched from a distance, eyes slightly narrowed. The strength of both of them is at the Saint Venerable realm. One of the men is from the human race, and the other woman is 80 to 90% similar to the human race. She controls the rules of space and is a starry skyfish human race. If it's not Luo Shen, then his identity will be revealed. The man is Luo Qitian, the father of Luo Shen. The woman's name is Yulaner, the mother of Luo Shen and the kilometer of the Shinkong fisherman tribe back then. At that time, the two eloped and headed outside the territory. After many years, Luo Qitian returned alone and brought back Luo Shen. At that time, everyone thought Yulaner was dead, because the lifespan of the starry skyfish people was very short. Even the Holy Lord only had 5,000 years, which was far inferior to the human race. Later, Luo Qitian left again. Only Saint Hao knew that Luo Qitian was looking for Yulaner, and Yulaner was not dead. In fact, Luo Shen also knew that it was precisely because of this that after Luo Shen became an adult and cultivated the Supreme Saint, he also went outside the territory to find his parents. Both Yulaner and Luo Shen have one thing in common: they both broke the curse that the starry skyfish people can only live for 5,000 years. Calculated by age, Yulaner and Luo Qitian have both lived for more than 10,000 years. They never returned outside the territory and had no idea what they were doing outside the territory. Under the siege of the two men, the strange fish soon fell into a desperate situation. No matter how it resisted, it was of no avail, especially after leaving the boundary sea. The aura of the strange fish weakened rapidly, and it was no match for the two of them. The injuries on the strange fish became more and more serious. After holding on for just a few minutes, it was finally disemboweled and completely beheaded. Luo Qitian held a sharp sword, drew a blue light, and severed the head of the strange fish. Immediately afterwards, the space rules broke out, smashing the strange fish's head into pieces, and took out a bone-like thing from it. Lin Moyu looked at it from a distance. The bone taken out from the head of the strange fish was as crystal clear as jade and was very extraordinary. They killed the strange fish for this bone? Lin Moyu thought in his heart, and then flew over. After getting the bones, Yulaner activated the law of space and brought Luo Qitian and the strange fish corpse to Lin Moyu in an instant. The two of them had actually known about Lin Moyu's existence for a long time, but they were fighting before and didn't pay attention to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu saluted the two of them. "I have seen Senior Luo, Senior Lan." "Wait a minute." Luo Qitian tossed the strange fish body back into the sea with a flick of his hand, and then took out a magic weapon similar to a trident. The two of them worked together to activate the magic weapon at the same time, and the magic weapon bloomed with rays of light and fell on the gap in the barrier of the big world. The barrier of the big world gradually healed under the blue light, and the boundary sea also subsided, and after a while it was restored to its original state. Until then, Luo Qi turned around and looked at Lin Moyu. "Fellow Taoist, what's your surname?" As they are both human beings and both are saints, Luo Qitian's attitude is very polite. He probably didn't expect that he could meet people of his own race at the edge of the world, with a little surprise in his eyes. Yulaner on the side had a slightly cold expression and stood on the edge of Luo Qi's sky without saying a word. In her eyes, it seems that Lin Moyu is not important. Lin Moyu said with a smile, "Junior Lin Moyu, I once heard the story of Senior Luo told by Saint Hao, but I didn't expect to meet him here by chance." Luo Qitian smiled and said, "Old Hao, if Lao Hao can tell you about me, it means that you are also someone he can trust. I didn't expect that I have been away from the human race for many years, and it is really amazing that such a young saint has emerged from the human race. I can't tell Lin Moyu's specific age. I can only tell that Lin Moyu is very young. To become a saint at such a young age must be a top genius." Lin Moyu was very modest. "Senior Luo deserves the award. Junior is just luckier than others." Luo Qitian smiled and said, "Fellow Taoist, you are so humble. How can you be just lucky to be able to cultivate to the realm of a saint?" At this time, Yulaner suddenly said, "You seem to have the aura of my fish-human race on you." Lin Moyu turned his palm and took out a shell. The shell was given by Yuchingru, and over time, it became aura. When Yulaner saw the shell, he looked a little yearning in his eyes. "How is my fishman clan doing now?" Lin Moyu said, "The fish people are very good. They are currently cooperating with the human race to build a space gate." Yulaner was suddenly a little surprised. How is it possible to build a space gate? The space gate that can be used by ordinary people is the highest achievement of the fish people in space. How could it be built for the human race? Yulaner felt that something must have happened, otherwise it wouldn't be like this. Lin Moyu said, "It's a long story. Now the situation in the region has changed drastically. Hundreds of races have been destroyed, and the human race has regained control of the starry sky." Hearing this, Luo Qitian was also surprised. He said, "It seems that a lot of things have happened in the human race in these years. Don't be in a hurry. Speak slowly, and by the way, taste the delicacies that are not available in the human race." As soon as he said this, Yulaner understood it, and with a wave of his hand, a circular continent with a diameter of 10,000 meters suddenly appeared in the starry sky. There is no water on the mainland, green grass is paved on the ground, and there are small lakes. In the middle of the lake, there is a small courtyard, which is the home of Luo Qitian and Yulaner. Luo Qitian said seriously, "Fellow Taoist, please come to Luo's home and taste some delicacies that are not available in the human race." Lin Moyu immediately agreed, "There are some good wines here." "Very good, very good." In the courtyard, Lin Moyu and Luo Qitian sat around the stove. Yulaner took out 2 large pieces of meat and grilled them with the fire of the Holy Lord. The 2 pieces of meat looked like fish meat. He could tell that the 2 pieces of meat were extraordinary and exuded an unusual smell. Under the roasting of the Holy Lord's fire, the 2 pieces of meat were still cooking very slowly, and the aroma was being released little by little. The aroma is as special as the meat, going straight into the soul. Just one smell, Lin Moyu naturally feels a sense of hunger. The feeling of hunger arises from the soul and spreads rapidly throughout the body, and there is a loud sound in the stomach. Lin Moyu hasn't eaten for a long time, and in his state, he doesn't need food at all. "I don't know how long it has been since I felt hungry." Lin Moyu's eyes showed surprise. "Senior Luo, what kind of meat is this?" In fact, he has already guessed that the meat that can be obtained here, which is not available in the human race, most likely comes from the Boundary Sea. Luo Qitian smiled and said, "A kind of fish meat from the Boundary Sea." "Sure enough, it's fish meat. It's just like what I guessed. The fish people grilling fish meat is really weird." Lin Moyu thought to himself and took out 2 bottles of wine at the same time. "Senior, please taste it." Luo Qitian couldn't wait to take the wine bottle and pour it into his mouth. It was obvious that he was also a good drinker. "After coming here for so many years, I guess the old inventory has been almost exhausted. It's rare to drink so happily." After taking a few big sips, Luo Qitian shouted, "Good wine. If you guessed correctly, this should be a fine wine that has been stored in the Luo family in Xinqing for at least 3,000 years. The same surname is Luo, and the Luo family in Xinqing has nothing to do with Luo Qitian. However, the wine of the Luo family in the Divine City is somewhat famous in the Divine City, and Luo Tian has also drank it before." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Senior is right, it is indeed the wine of the Luo family in the Divine City." Luo Qitian drank a few more gulps, wiped his mouth and said, "I haven't drank so happily in many years." Yulaner looked on with a smile in his eyes. The 2 of them had a good relationship. Luo Qitian drank happily, and she was also happy. The fish meat is gradually cooked in the fire, the aroma becomes richer, and the hunger in the soul becomes stronger. There are very few foods that can affect the soul just by their fragrance, and silent language is also looking forward to the deliciousness in them. Yulaner finally grilled the fish and served it directly on the table without using any condiments. Luo Qitian smiled and said, "Come and taste it." Ulaner made a few false strokes with his fingers, and the fish meat was immediately cut into small pieces. Lin Moyu took one of the pieces and threw it into his mouth. In an instant, the strong fragrance burst out from his mouth, and a strange power rushed straight into his soul. In an instant, Lin Moyu's aura rose, his whole body's energy and blood were activated, and his originally silent power exploded. Behind Lin Moyu, an illusory and hazy world of rules rose up. In the world of rules, stars were dotted, and the 4 laws were surging. After a few seconds, everything returned to calm. The delicious taste of fish meat is not a delicacy in the traditional sense, but a beauty that reaches directly to the soul, and is a supreme enjoyment from the soul. The whole process was wonderful. After eating the fish, Lin Moyu felt that he had undergone some changes, but nothing seemed to have changed. It was difficult to explain clearly. Luo Qitian and Ulaner were both stunned. They looked at each other, as if they couldn't believe what they saw. Until Lin Moyu recovered, they had not come back to their senses. Lin Moyu exhaled a long breath. This meat is really extraordinary. Luo Qitian said, fellow Taoist Lin is extraordinary. He possesses 4 laws, and the world of rules is so powerful and perfect. Lin Moyu smiled and said, the younger generation just has better luck. Ulaner suddenly said, how come you have the laws of space? She knew the rules of the starry skyfish people, and it was impossible for others to master the laws of space. As long as they are sensed, they will definitely stop or even kill them. Lin Moyu took out a jade tablet, and with a movement of his soul, all the things that happened over the years were transferred to the tablet. Some words are too long to say and may not be explained clearly. It is better to let them see for themselves. He didn't tell everything, he just gave a general outline. The jade plaque was handed over to Luo Qitian. Senior Luo, it's better to see for yourself. Everything that happened in recent years has basically happened here. Luo Qitian took the jade token and inspected it carefully. During the process, his expression kept changing, sometimes amazed, sometimes frowning. After a while, he put down the jade plaque and sighed, I didn't expect that so many things would happen in just a few hundred years. Ulaner also took the jade plaque and looked at it, knowing the general process, and sighed a little, I didn't expect that my clan was actually born. I don't know how Luoshin is doing. Lin Moyu smiled and said, Luoshin has become a saint. I met her a few years ago, and she is looking for you outside the territory. Lin Moyu did not say anything about Luoshin being deceived and attacked by the Mountain Supreme. This matter has already passed, and there is no need to mention it again. Now Luoshin is looking for them. This is the key point. It's a pity that the territory is too big, and Luoshin hasn't found them yet. Lin Moyu has no good solution for this, he can only rely on luck. Lin Moyu suddenly thought of something and took out another shell. The starry skyfish people are good at using shells, just like the people today like to use jade, and the people in ancient times like to use pearls. These are just external objects, used to carry something after being refined. The shells among the starry skyfish men are also different. The shells given by Yuchingru are different from other people's shells. Each shell has a different imprint. Lin Moyu suddenly remembered that Luoshin once gave him a shell as a small gift. After that, it just stayed there and was never taken out to look at again. Looking back, it seems that there are still many things that I haven't had time to do. Seeing Luoshin's shell, Ulaner's face suddenly changed, and her expression became excited. It's Shenwu's shell. There was a unique mark of Luo Shenlan in the shell, which was immediately recognized by Luo Shenlan. How could a mother misidentify her child? Ulaner was already a little excited when she knew Luoshin was fine before, and she was even more so now. Lin Moyu handed the shell to Ulaner. Luoshin should be looking for you outside the territory now, but the outside area is too big, so I haven't been able to find you. Ulaner held the shell and said, if you can find it, you can find it if you have it. Through the shell, Ulaner can sense the Luoshin within a certain range through the secret method of the fish people. Originally, Lin Moyu thought that if he couldn't find it, he could ask by who to help. Through the blood essence and blood of the Fishman 287 clan, and using the blood to chase the soul, we should be able to find the location of Luoshin. It seems that there is no need for it now. Ulaner has his own calendar. Ulaner was very excited and happy now, with tears flowing from the corners of her eyes. Thank you, fellow Taoist Lin. Luo Qitian was relatively calm. Thank you so much, fellow Taoist Lin. I went back to the Fishman tribe before, but I heard that Shinner has left. I also tried to look for him, but I couldn't find him. Now, our family is finally done. Lin Moyu said, congratulations to Senior first, but I have a question and want to ask Senior for advice. Luo Qitian waved his hand, just say it. Lin Moyu said, as far as I know, the lifespan of the Holy Lord of the Starry Skyfish tribe is only 5,000 years. I wonder how Senior Lan extended his lifespan. Luo Qitian smiled and said, it turns out that this is the case. In fact, this incident is also accidental. After Lanner gave birth to Shinner, I discovered that Lanner's longevity exceeded the limits of the Fishman clan. It's just that her lifespan was not stable at that time, growing and shortening. At that time, we were outside the territory and encountered something. Lin Moyu knows the origin of the Starry Skyfish people. They are not a naturally occurring species in the big world. They were created by the space god, so their longevity is only 1/10 of the human race. The fact that Lanner's longevity exceeded the limit after giving birth to Luoshin should be related to Luo Jitian. Luoshin has human blood, and can be regarded as a native species in half of the world. Shoyuin is originally much older than the fish people. Lanner received the dual influence of Luo Qitian and Luoshin, and he also exceeded the lifespan limit of the fish people. But this kind of breakthrough is not an essential change and will naturally not be stable. When they were outside the territory, they happened to encounter two giant starry beasts fighting over a strange fish corpse. The behemoths in the starry sky are very strong, and they are all in the other side realm. At that time, Luo Qitian and Lanner were also in the other shore realm, and were even weaker than the two starry sky beasts. In the end, the two starry sky beasts both suffered losses, allowing them to take advantage. Something that can make two giant beasts from the other side starry sky fight to the death must be good. In the head of the strange fish, they got a bone. This bone contained a strange power, which actually stabilized Kai Halener's longevity. And after eating the meat of the strange fish, they broke through to the Saint Realm in a short period of time. However, the power in that bone has its limits and cannot be absorbed forever. So they began to look for strange fish outside the territory. The number of strange fish was rare and difficult to find. However, with the advantage of space laws, they were able to find some. Later, they accidentally got a harpoon-like magic weapon. This magic weapon was very special and required two people to work together to drive it. This magic weapon can sense the location of strange fish, break the world barriers, and release strange fish into the big world. After killing the monster fish, the harpoon can also repair the world barrier. Since then, their way of obtaining strange fish has become stable, and Lanner's longevity is no longer a problem. After listening to this almost bizarre story, Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh. The world is so big and full of wonders, and all kinds of wonders can happen. According to Luo Qitian, when they obtained this harpoon magic weapon, the harpoon was stabbing a strange fish. The strange fish took the initiative to break through the barrier of the big world, followed the incoming boundary sea, and came to the big world, where it happened to be hit by them. Lin Moyu has been to Jiehai. He is more concerned about who sees the harpoon. This kind of magic weapon that can easily break through the barriers of the big world is really scary. Luo Qitian was very generous and showed Lin Moyu the harpoon. For someone like Lin Moyu who has just known him for less than a day, it shows how much Luo Qitian trusts him. Lin Moyu held the harpoon and examined it carefully. The harpoon looked ordinary, even a little rough, not as sharp as a powerful magic weapon. According to Luo Qitian, there is nothing surprising about the harpoon before it is activated. To activate the harpoon, you need to use your soul power. The two saints worked together to barely activate the harpoon. Lin Moyu asked, "Can I try to use it?" "Of course, I'll help you." Luo Qitian agreed wholeheartedly. This kind of small request was nothing at all. Lin Moyu said, "Let's try it alone in our hospital." Luo Qitian smiled and said, "Okay, no problem." As soon as the soul power moved, the majestic soul power poured into the harpoon. Lin Moyu has a supreme realm soul, and the quality of his soul power is much higher than that of a supreme being. Moreover, he also has the world tree that constantly replenishes his soul power, and his soul power is almost inexhaustible. Just 2 seconds later, the harpoon buzzed and glowed, and a powerful aura surged out of the harpoon. Lin Moyu suddenly felt a powerful source of power. This power was hidden in the harpoon and could not be sensed at ordinary times. It could only be sensed when activated. With the blessing of the original power, the harpoon transformed into an extremely powerful magic weapon that can easily break through the world's barriers. Lin Moyu activated the harpoon alone, and Luo Qitian and Yu Laner were both surprised. What they can do together, Miyu can do alone. Only then did the two realize that Lin Moyu was stronger than themselves. Lin Moyu looked at it for a moment and knew that the secret that made the harpoon so powerful was the original power inside. He returned the harpoon to Luo Qitian. "Thank you, Senior. This harpoon is indeed extraordinary. Can you also let me see the fish bone?" Without saying anything, Yu Laner gave a piece of fish bone to Lin Moyu. "This fish bone will be given to fellow Taoist Lin. They have gotten a lot of fish bones over the years, so it's okay to give them 1 or 2. The fish bones are as warm as jade, which is in sharp contrast to the ugly appearance of the strange fish field. The whole fish only has this bone in the head, which is very special and has magical effects." According to Luo Qitian, there are many kinds of strange fish, some of which are very delicious, and some of which are not. But the fish bones in their heads all have the same function. Lin Moyu can feel that there is a strange power contained in the fish bones. It's not like the original power, but it seems not much worse than the original power. Lin Moyu looked at it for a long time and couldn't figure out why. He could only say that his knowledge was shallow. Luo Qitian said, "Fellow Taoist Lin can try to refine and absorb it." Lin Moyu also wanted to give it a try, and started refining and absorbing fish bones according to the method taught by Luo Qitian. Refining and absorbing fish bones also requires the use of soul power. The method is very simple. You only need to use soul power to evolve the soul fire to refine it. This was not difficult for Lin Moyu. In the soul fire, the fish bones melted quickly, and finally turned into a stream of pure air, which penetrated into Lin Moyu's body. The pure air transformed from the fish bones circulates in the body and finally falls into the soul. Wherever the fresh air went, Lin Moyu felt a sense of stability. It means stability. The strength of the whole body becomes stable, the soul also becomes stable, and the world of rules also becomes stable. The strength itself has not increased, nor has the realm improved at all. Luo Qitian said, "You can feel it. In fact, its function is to stabilize the body, soul, and realm. Including Shu Yuan, it has also become stable. Now Lanner's longevity is the same as mine, stable at 40,000 years. No matter what accidents occurred during the period, even if he is injured, his longevity will not change. This is its function, as well as the function of fish. Fish can enhance the realm, but it is useful at first, and then loses its effect. Rouching has become a delicacy. Lin Moyu is a saint, and his foundation is extremely deep. Fish and meat are of no use to him." He thought carefully about Luo Qitian's words, coupled with his own feelings, and suddenly realized that the so-called stability was not that simple. Not only has longevity been stabilized, but the realm has also been stabilized. Many strong people, after being injured, suffered a decline in their level and left hidden injuries, making it difficult for them to return to their peak state. The stabilizing effect of fish bones can prevent their level from declining. If they are injured, as long as the injury is healed, they can return to their peak state without leaving any hidden injuries. This function may seem useless, but it is actually very important. For Luo Qitian and his wife, fish bones are used to stabilize their longevity, but for other cultivators, they are a good thing to maintain their realm without fear of injury. And its usage is not like you laners, who absorbs it all the time. Instead, absorb a piece before the battle, so you don't have to worry even if you get injured during the battle. The effects of fish bones can last for a period of time. Lin Moyu roughly estimated that the effects of a fish bone can last for decades. This way, you can have enough time to heal the injury afterwards. If you don't have enough time, you can absorb another piece. There should be a lot of strange fish like this in the Boundary Sea. Lin Moyu and Luo Qitian chatted for a while longer, drinking wine and eating meat, and talked about all the recent events in the domain. Lin Moyu also said the purpose of coming to the outside world, but unfortunately they have never encountered the ghost tribe. The foreign territory is too vast, and it is more difficult than finding a needle in a haystack. However, Luo Qitian also pointed out a path to Lin Moyu. About 5 million light years away from where they were, there were traces of biological activity. There had been some broken buildings there. They had encountered them at that time, but they were just anxious to find the strange fish and didn't pay too much attention to them. Luo Qitian focused most of his thoughts on his wife, not even his daughter. This man loved his wife to the extreme. After having enough wine and food, it was finally time to say goodbye. Before parting, Luo Qitian gave Lin Moyu some fish as a gift. Lin Moyu continues to look for the ghost tribe, while Luo Luotian and Yulaner are looking for Lu Shen. The door to space opened again and again, and Lin Moyu crossed the void, crossed 5 million light years, and came to the place Luo Qitian said. There was no response from the dragon-seeking ball. There was no dragon ball here. This is normal. In the vast starry sky, dragon balls are not so easy to obtain. After searching around, I finally found traces of living things. There are some meteorite-like fragments here, and Lin Moyu can tell that these fragments come from the stars. The stars are just ordinary stars, that is to say, stars once passed by here. At the speed of the stars, even if they had been flying here since ancient times, they would not be able to reach here. The flying speed of stars cannot match the expansion speed of the big world. This is the reason why the outer space is empty. Unless it comes from a more ancient era, Lin Moyu thinks it is unlikely. That era is too long ago and cannot be traced back. Collect the stars and continue searching. There are more and more star fragments. Some of the fragments are relatively large, and the breath of living things does still remain on them, but it has been a long time ago and the breath is very weak. If it weren't for Lin Moyu's soul being keen enough to feel it. Finally, Lin Moyu found more star fragments, forming a meteorite group, and the aura remaining inside was stronger. This is a star that has been shattered. The person who drove the stars to come here once had a war with certain entities here. The battle was fierce, the stars were shattered, and many people may have died. What is here, and why are we fighting here? Lin Moyu's heart moved, and the law of time began to surge. Manipulate the law of time and go back in time. The world of rules emerges, majestic soul power surges, and the law of time explodes with full force. The law of time enveloped a large area of the starry sky, and then the law rose and transformed into rules. The law of time galaxy meanders out and envelopes the starry sky. In the far distance of the galaxy of the law of time, there is the long river of time. This is the first time Lin Moyu uses the law of time to look back. In the law of time, no matter what has happened, it will leave traces in the long river of time. Although he cannot enter the long river of time, he can find these traces from the long river of time through the law of time and make them appear again. The further back in time, the greater the power required. Lin Moyu didn't know when the battle here took place and whether he was strong enough to go back. No matter what, he would have to try it before he could find out. The law of time, the galaxy connects the long river of time, and the wife looks for traces of the past in the long river of time. At the same time, it sheds light and shadow, showing everything that happened in the past in the starry sky. The starry sky was silent most of the time, and Lin Moyu didn't know how many years ago this war took place. He tried his best to find traces of the past, and time kept going back faster and faster. The consumption of soul power is becoming more and more intense, and the pressure on Lin Moyu is rapidly increasing. The world tree is constantly replenishing Lin Moyu's soul power. In the blink of an eye, time has gone back 100,000 years. If it were an ordinary saint, his soul power would have been exhausted long ago. But Lin Moyu can still persist, and the world tree has become his greatest confidence. 100,000 years ago, this starry sky looked like this. Lin Moyu continues to look back, 200,000 years. 30 million years. Time went further and further, reaching 500,000 years ago, and the soul power finally began to make ends meet. World Tree has tried its best to replenish it, but it is still a little behind, and it is difficult to fully keep up with the consumption rate. Lin Moyu made some calculations and estimated that he could last up to 800,000 years, by which time his soul power would be completely exhausted. The soul power is getting less and less, and Lin Moyu is becoming more and more strenuous. When the time came to 750,000 years ago, the starry sky finally changed. Rubbles are flying in the starry sky, and gravel clusters are forming. Close. Lin Moyu had already consumed 89% of his soul power at this time. Seeing the changes, he gritted his teeth and continued to look back. As time goes by, the transformation of meteorites becomes more and more drastic. Until time goes back to 800,000 years ago, the changes of meteorites become even more drastic. Lin Moyu knew that he was close to the time when the war would break out, but he still couldn't really see it clearly. Somewhat unwilling. Give it a try. The soul roared, and the 10-color dragon soul crystal sprayed dragon breath towards the soul, providing it with some soul power. However, providing soul power is not the main ability of the Shirkai dragon soul crystal. Its main function is to purify soul power. Doing this now can only be considered better than nothing. The world tree sheds a lot of golden light and desperately provides support to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu is desperately trying, and it is also desperately trying. 801,000 years. 820,000 years. 825,000 years. Lin Moyu is under increasing pressure, and every bit of soul power in his soul is being squeezed dry. Finally, when the time came to 830,000 years, Lin Moyu saw a human figure. Someone's figure flashed past. The figure was hazy and difficult to see clearly. He seemed to just pass by here and then disappear. By now, the soul power has been completely exhausted. I'm not willing to give in. Just a little bit closer. The world tree felt Lin Moyu's unwillingness and swayed crazily as well. Not only the world tree, but also the colorful dragon soul crystals and the magic stars all felt Lin Moyu's unwillingness. It's really just a little bit close to being able to see it. After chasing the ghost clan for so long, I finally got a clue. How could I let it go? The infinite fusion suddenly moved. It flew to the edge of the soul body and sprinkled 040 hazy mist of chaos. The strange thing is that the chaos mist is not given to Lin Moyu, but to the natural disaster scepter in Lin Moyu's hand. To be precise, it is for the soul gem on the natural disaster scepter. The originally silent soul gem was stimulated by the chaotic mist and seemed to wake up, blooming with light and pouring out soul power into the soul body. The soul body that was originally dry was suddenly nourished and became powerful again. Lin Moyu was overjoyed and continued to look back in time and space. 831,000 years. He finally saw the battle. The scale of this battle was not small, with 10 galaxies and hundreds of stars participating. They formed a star formation, and strong men shrouded in mist flew out from the formation to fight against others. Ghost Tribe. Lin Moyu was overjoyed and recognized at a glance that this was the legendary Ghost Tribe. The ones fighting against the Ghost Clan were surprisingly the strange fish from the Boundary Sea. But not one fish monster, but a group of them. During the war, a gap appeared in the space barrier, and the boundary seed poured out of the gap, and a large number of strange fish appeared inside. The strange fish look exactly the same, and there are more than 100,000 of them, making it a huge school of fish. The ghost tribe fought with the school of strange fish for a long time. Although the school of strange fish was finally eliminated, it also paid a heavy price. During the war, 5 stars were destroyed, and the 10 galaxies became 9.5. After the war, the Ghost Clan repaired the barrier of the big world and left with the corpse of the strange fish. The Ghost Tribe's method of repairing the barrier of the big world is exactly the same as Luo Qitian's. It is also a harpoon. Time retrospect stops, the law of time disappears, Lin Moyu's soul power is completely exhausted, and no real bit remains. But with the world tree here, it won't take long to recover. Lin Moyu murmured to himself. They took away the strange fish corpse and cleaned the battlefield. Not even a bit of flesh and blood was spared. Obviously, the Kakuto body was useful to them. The Ghost Clan suddenly disappeared and came here. They must have obeyed the order of Tianzuan. After so many years, the Ghost Tribe has not returned. Is it because Tianzuan gave orders first? The race once created by Tianzuan, the starry sky demon god, seems to have been exterminated, and only Lillian is left in the starry sky spirit clan. The starry sky human race does not know her birth. Perhaps only the Ghost Tribe still retains complete information. They will bring 10 galaxies here, and they are obviously ready to settle outside the territory for a long time. At the same time, they should also bring the tasks assigned by Tianzuan. Otherwise, Holy Talisman Tianzuan would not let himself come to them. The accurate answer can only be known after finding the Ghost Tribe. After resting for a moment, and after recovering his soul power, Lin Moyu disappeared in one step, heading in the direction the Ghost Clan had left. Although it has been more than 800,000 years, it is difficult to track it down, but you still have to try. The 10 galaxies are not small in size, they will always leave traces in the starry sky, and they cannot move as fast as himself. Lin Moyu feels that he has a chance to catch up. One step is 1 billion kilometers. Lin Moyu will observe every step he takes. In this way, although the efficiency will be greatly reduced, the accuracy can be greatly improved. Lin Moyu used his own method to track the Ghost Tribe. Searching again and again, changing direction again and again, Lin Moyu felt that he was getting closer and closer to the right direction. When Tianzuan asked the Ghost Tribe to come outside the territory, he must have opened the door to space. It was most likely that Kantianjianzan sent it personally. Otherwise, the Ghost Tribe would not be able to fly here with 10 galaxies. The flying speed of stars may not even be 1% of the speed of light, and it would take at least hundreds of millions of years to fly from the domain to here. Only the space god has this ability to send the ghost race here together with the galaxy. After arriving here, the flying speed of the Ghost Tribe will inevitably drop significantly, so Lin Moyu is confident that he can catch up. Lin Moyu is very patient, he keeps track year after year. Finally, 50 years later, Lin Moyu completely determined the direction of the Ghost Tribe and speeded up to rush over. In the past 50 years, Lin Moyu has changed directions countless times and looked back in time. He found that the direction of movement of the Ghost Tribe was not fixed. Every time they turned, the Ghost Tribe seemed to have a target, and they did not just turn randomly. It can be judged from this that they must have a mission when they come here. 2 more years passed, and finally light appeared in the dark void. That was the light of a star, coming from 5 light years away. After so many years, Lin Moyu finally saw the light of stars again, and Lin Moyu felt a little warm. The law of starlight, which had been silent for a long time, became active under the illumination of stars. Finally found. What kind of mission is it? It will last for more than 2 million years. Lin Moyu breathed a sigh of relief. After so many years of searching, he finally found the Ghost Tribe. The door to space opened, and Lin Moyu instantly crossed 4 light years, then stepped on the laws of space and headed towards the star. As the distance got closer, Lin Moyu gradually felt that something was wrong. In the first-time review, the Ghost race had 10 galaxies and more than 20 stars, and each galaxy had more than 2 stars. But now, there are only 6 stars left. Even if there is a galaxy, there are only 6 galaxies left at most. In so many years of war, the Ghost Clan seems to have paid a heavy price. Wow! A strange aura rushed over, and Lin Moyu's soul was shocked, the aura of the Sea of Boundaries. In these years, Lin Moyu used time to go back again and again, and many times he saw the Ghost Tribe fighting the strange fish in the Boundary Sea. The Ghost Tribe seems to have been hunting strange fish. The same is true this time. The Ghost Tribe is fighting the strange fish in the Boundary Sea again. There are only 6 stars left, but the combat power of the Ghost Clan has not diminished at all, not much worse than when we went back in time. As the distance got closer, Lin Moyu's induction became clearer, and he sensed the breath of the Holy Lord and the Half-Step Supreme. He even felt that there was a more powerful power hidden in the core of the Ghost Star. Even he was frightened by this power. Lin Moyu arrived silently and saw the battle situation clearly. The number of strange fish is about 10,000, most of them are on the other side. There are some holy ones, but not many. The strongest monster fish should be half-stepped to the supreme level, but not to the supreme level. The combat power of the Ghost Tribe is comparable to that of the monster fish. The attack method of the Ghost Tribe is extremely strange and causes considerable damage to the monster fish. If the fight continues, the Ghost Tribe can win, but there will also be casualties. Lin Moyu's heart moved, the immortal flames burst out, and 25 skeleton kings appeared in the starry sky. The next second, the Skeleton King rushed towards the battle group. Each Skeleton King had a half-step supreme combat power, enough to crush the school of strange fish. After the strong men of the Ghost Tribe appeared, their first reaction was to be vigilant. They quickly gathered together and launched a defensive formation. They didn't know whether the Skeleton King was an enemy or a friend, so they could only be on guard first. The strange fish seemed to have no intelligence and still attacked the Ghost Tribe. The Skeleton King rushed into the battlefield, strictly followed Lin Moyu's orders, and immediately attacked the school of strange fish, using his sharp sword. The sword light illuminated the starry sky, and the Skeleton King simultaneously used his god-killing sword. The target is not one strange fish, every sword kills the god, the target is hundreds of strange fish from the other side. With one sword strike, 1/3 of the monster fish from the other shore were killed. Minced meat flew everywhere, and broken fish bodies were everywhere. The Skeleton King completely crushed the school of strange fish in terms of combat power, attacking again and again, crushing the starry sky and smashing the strange fish. The god-killing sword was just an appetizer. The Skeleton King entered the school of strange fish and started killing them. The scales of the strange fish could not block the sharpness of the bone sword, and it was killed quickly. The strange fish group also gave up the battle with the Ghost Clan and turned collectively to attack the Skeleton King. The pressure on the Ghost Tribe's side suddenly weakened significantly, and they had to slowly retreat away from the battlefield. At this time, Lin Moyu flew over, and from a distance 08 made a voice, "Human Lin Moyu." The voice was loud and resounded across the starry sky. The sound of the soul, Lin Moyu knew they could hear it. The Ghost Tribe reacted immediately after hearing the voice of the soul. A voice came out from the billowing white mist, "You are finally here." Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat, they knew I was coming. Then he thought of the mysterious master, and his thoughts were like lightning. Could it be that the Ghost Clan is also related to the mysterious master? In the midst of chaotic thoughts, Lin Moyu approached the Ghost Tribe. Although I have seen the Ghost Tribe again and again in time retrieval, there is still a difference between time retrieval and seeing it with my own eyes. The Ghost Tribe is very special. Their whole bodies are shrouded in mist, and they seem to have no entity, or the entity is hidden in the domineering spirit. Even their planet was covered with layers of fog, making it impossible to see what was going on the planet. Even when fighting, it was still filled with mist, and his true appearance was not revealed. This is a mist-like creature, somewhat similar to the legendary ghost. Lin Moyu came to the front and stopped when he was still 10,000 kilometers away from the ghost tribe. The two sides kept a certain distance. The mist in the ghost clan is churning. On one of the planets, a powerful aura is rising, as if someone is resurrecting. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry and waited for the street. After a moment, a cloud of white mist flew out of the ghost race, and the white mist condensed the outline of the human race, and then a voice sounded, "You are finally here." Another sentence, "You are finally here." Although the two sentences before and after are the same words, the meanings and the tone are very different. The first sentence is a little surprised, but the second sentence has a sense of waiting for a long time. Lin Moyu saluted to the other party, "Human Lin Moyu, I have met the senior." The condensed outline of the ghost tribe also saluted Lin Moyu, "Ghost tribe, Yojio." Yojio's etiquette is very ancient, slightly different from Lin Moyu's etiquette. That is the etiquette of ancient times, and the friendly meaning is expressed in etiquette. Lin Moyu said, "Senior knows I will come?" Yojio said, "The master once said that someone will come looking for us." Lin Moyu thought of the mysterious master, but he still wanted to confirm, "Who is the master you are talking about?" Yujio said, "The master of our ghost clan is Soul Heavenly Lord, who is our creator and our only master." Lin Moyu asked again, "How did Soul Sky Squatting know I would come?" Fog rolled around Yojio's body. "I don't know, we are just following the master's orders. If the master says you will come, you will definitely come." Could it be that Soul Heavenly Lord also has arrangements? Lin Moyu thought to himself, and then asked, "Then how are you sure it's me?" Yujio said, 2,000,000 years, human race, saint. Time, identity, and realm, these three elements can fully explain Lin Moyu's identity. Only then did Lin Moyu understand why the Holy Talisman Tianzuan wanted to go to the Holy Lord realm before looking for the ghost tribe. Obviously, the Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord knew what the Soul Heavenly Lord was doing, but at the same time Lin Moyu found it strange that Song had a mysterious master who had been leaving behind a backup to firmly believe that the world could still be saved. The Soul Heavenly Lord should have left the world, so how could he leave behind such a backup man? If he wanted to stay, why did he leave? Tianzuan's thoughts seemed a bit complicated, and Mou couldn't figure it out for a while. While Lin Moyu was thinking, Yujio said again, "We still need one piece of evidence to prove your identity and confirm that you are the person we are waiting for. Please say." Master said that shitty people have the power to destroy the world. The fire that burns the world. The mysterious master. Lin Moyu suddenly realized that it was not the arrangement of the soul god, but ultimately the mysterious master. He guessed that it was the mysterious master who asked Soul Heavenly Lord to do these things. At that time, only the mysterious master believed that the world could still be saved. In this way, the gods all felt that there was no way to save the big world, so they left the big world one after another. Apart from leaving a little inheritance, there was no arrangement after that. Only the mysterious master left behind various arrangements, hoping to gain a glimmer of hope for the world in the future. Having said that, those heavenly lords don't seem to have such a powerful ability to make their arrangements last for millions of years, and they also have to ensure that they don't go wrong. While Lin Moyu was thinking, he spread his palms, a flame ignited in his palms, and a special aura spread in the starry sky. The world-burning fire is very special. It has many characteristics that other flames do not have. It can refine the world and is extremely harmful to souls. Even a ray of soul left by Tianzuan will be burned to death by it. The special nature of the world-burning fire is almost impossible to fake. After seeing the world-burning fire, Yojio was completely sure of Lin Moyu's identity. Identity confirmed. "You are the one we are waiting for. Please wait for me to recover." Within the ghost clan, a more powerful aura rose up, and Jio's aura continued to grow stronger. 377 The Other Shore. Holy Realm. Half-step to Supreme. In just a few minutes, Yojio's aura has reached half-step to Supreme level, but this is not the end. His aura continues to rise, and his recovery continues. Lin Moyu was not surprised. He had felt before that there were extremely powerful beings in the Ghost Clan, which could even threaten him. He can make himself feel threatened, at least he is a supreme, and not an ordinary supreme. Boom! The starry sky shook violently, and Lin Moyu saw a regular world full of fog. Yojiro officially stepped into the supreme realm, and his aura continued to rise. Until they crossed the threshold of the low-level supreme, the group slowly came down. Yojiro is a mid-level supreme being with extremely powerful combat power. 2 million years later, the Ghost Clan is not only alive, but there is also a supreme being in the clan. I don't know how they survived. If they can survive, why can't those heavenly lords? They could hide in the big world for millions of years, and then see if they can find a way out of the big world. Why did they leave the big world so early and give up directly? Lin Moyu has too many questions. The mist on Yojiro's body became thicker, like substance, and his voice became a little thicker. The master ordered us to give it to you. While talking, Yojiro threw out a box. He didn't dare to touch the box and pushed the box to Lin Moyu from a distance. There is a layer of flame on the box, the destruction of the world. Lin Moyu took the box with the world-burning fire in his hand. Needless to say, the only one who can seal the box with the world-burning fire is the mysterious owner. The box is wrapped in the world-burning fire, which is stronger than the ancient talisman. Unless you have the world-burning fire like Lin Moyu, it will be extremely difficult to open even if the Tianzuan comes. Lin Moyu asked, "Besides this box, is there anything else?" Yojiro shook his head. "Apart from the box, our existence is to prevent the boundary sea from destroying the world. Apart from that, there is nothing else." Lin Moyu said, "In another 1,000 years, there will be a world called Dojie, which will collide with the big world." Lin Moyu talked about the situation in the Dojie. The most important thing is that there should be a supreme being in the Dojie. Yojiro said without thinking, "This is none of our business. The Chinese did not order us to fight. There is no mercy at all. The ghosts will only obey the orders of their masters. They don't care about the life and death of the big world." In Lin Moyu's view, they are more like a bunch of puppets, puppets without self-emotion. They will do whatever their master tells them to do. They have been performing their mission for millions of years and have never stopped. But Lin Moyu doesn't want them to come back and help the human world fight against the fighting world. Yojiro asked in a deep voice, "Do you have anything else to do?" Lin Moyu shook his head. He came to the Ghost Clan because he actually wanted them to take action after 1,000 years. There was nothing else. As for exploring the secrets of the Ghost Clan, Moyu has never thought about it. Since they were unwilling to take action, Lin Moyu couldn't force it. Yujiro said, "Okay, you can go." The Ghost Tribe obviously does not welcome outsiders. They only obey the orders of the Soul God, and other things have nothing to do with them. Lin Moyu saluted Yujiro, then turned and left, disappearing into the starry sky in the blink of an eye. The Skeleton King's battle ended long ago, and the Skeleton King slaughtered all the strange fish. After knowing the true strength of the Ghost Tribe, Lin Moyu knew that those strange fish schools were no match for the Ghost Tribe. Yujiro has not taken any action. It seems that he is training his clan members, or there is a deeper reason. The door to space opens, Lin Moyu leaves 100,000 light-years away, and bids farewell to the ghost race completely. Holding the ancient box in his hand, the world-burning fire illuminated the surrounding void, forming a small circle of light. Although the Ghost Clan refuses to take action, maybe getting the box left by the mysterious owner can be regarded as an unexpected gain. 17. How many backups did he leave behind? One after another, it seems that they all have something to do with him. How many plans did he have? In comparison, there is indeed a big gap between the Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord and the Mysterious Master. There are too many doubts in my heart. The Mysterious Master from ancient times is very mysterious in Tianzuan's mouth, let alone now. The fire that burns the world continues to boil, and Lin Moyu wants to open the ancient box. A box sealed with world-burning fire is more precious than a box sealed with ancient talismans. The last time I got the same box, it was in the world of water and fire, and was handed over to the ancestor of water and fire for safekeeping. It contains the seeds of the immortal flame, also known as the original fire. This time, it was outside the territory and was given to the ghost tribe for safekeeping. No one knew what was inside. With expectation, Lin Moyu used the fire of burning the world to refine the box. The world-burning fire on the box was gradually absorbed by Lin Moyu's world-burning fire. The box opened with a snap, and a powerful breath rushed out from the box. Supreme! This breath surprised Lin Moyu. How could there be the breath of the Supreme in the box? The box bloomed with glow, and a figure shrouded in flames appeared in the glow. Mysterious Master. Unexpectedly, the mysterious owner left a mark here. The mysterious master is different from ordinary Tianzuan. His methods are more sophisticated. He does not need to leave a soul, and can talk to himself only by relying on his mark. The voice of the mysterious master came from the flames. I know you have many questions, and I will answer them for you. If you have any questions, just ask them. Lin Moyu asked, what is the mission of the ghost tribe? The mysterious master said, the ghost tribe has two tasks. One is to prevent the boundary sea from eroding the great world. However, they alone cannot completely stop it, they can only delay it. But without them, the great world cannot survive until now. The second task is to keep this box from me and give the box to you. With the answer of the mysterious master, Lin Moyu finally understood the cause and effect. After the black blood craze launched in the black blood world, the origin of the world was damaged. At that time, the mysterious master had already expected that the gods would leave. Once the heavenly lords leave, they will take away more of the origin of the world, making the trauma of the world more serious. At that time, the big world will lose its control over the edge areas, and the boundary sea will have an impact on the edge areas of the big world. The creatures in the boundary sea will rush into the big world. If this situation is too serious, it will also cause harm to the big world. If it cannot be stopped, the world will not be able to wait until 2 million years later. The reason why I chose the Ghost Tribe is because the Ghost Tribe has its own special characteristics. When the Soul Heavenly Lord created the Ghost race, the things he used were not owned by the big world, but came from the world sea, which was very special. They have the ability to sleep. During dormancy, lifespan passes very slowly. In addition, the world sea monster fish has the effect of improving the realm and stabilizing it, which can make more powerful people be born among the Ghost Tribe, and when sleeping, time passes more slowly. It is precisely because of this that the mysterious master found the Soul God and asked him to put the Ghost Tribe outside the territory. Originally, Soul Heavenly Lord wanted to take the Ghost Clan away, but because of the mysterious master, he had to do so. After listening to the mysterious master's answer, although it was slightly different from his guess, the difference was not the same. Lin Moyu continued to ask, the Tianling clan and the Ghost clan were both created by the Soul God clan, but what about the Demon God clan? The mysterious master said, the Demon God clan has long been killed in the battle. To the Soul Heavenly Lord, the Demon God clan is a failure. Although their combat power is not weak, their lifespan is too short. The Heavenly Spirit tribe is better than the Demon God tribe. At least, Wang Qian's doesn't have the problem of longevity. It's just that their combat power is not strong enough, but the Soul Heavenly Lord seems to be very respectful to the Heavenly Spirit tribe. The Ghost tribe can be said to be the most perfect work of the Soul God. They have strong combat power and a lifespan equal to ours. They also have the ability to sleep. They also played a great role back then. In addition, there is the fish human race. They were created by the Space God. The Space God is not good at creating living beings. The fish people have many flaws. But they have space laws, which also played some role back then. Lin Moyu asked, where is Munaner? The mysterious master said, I kept her here on purpose. It's a pity that there is only one soul city. If there were more, the current crisis could be avoided. Do you really think the world can be saved? Every road has a glimmer of hope. No matter how desperate the situation is, there is hope. I don't know if the world can be saved in the end, but I just want to say that you will never give up until you fight. Lin Moyu asked a lot of questions, and the mysterious owner answered them all without hiding anything. Perhaps the information left in this square box by the mysterious owner is the most important part. All the doubts I had were solved little by little at this moment. The mysterious master is indeed infinitely close to the Taoist master, and is only a little short of reaching the level of the Taoist master. Unfortunately, in the end he missed a step and did not go in. After being told by the mysterious owner, Lin Moyu learned some more secret things. Julie Tianzuan's army in the Black Blood world was besieged by several strong men of the same realm. Other Tianzuan were also restrained, including this powerful mysterious master. The power that restrains them is not only the power of the Black Blood realm itself, but also the power from the outside world. This answer exceeded Lin Moyu's expectation. He also did not expect that there would be external forces involved, rather than a simple battle between the Big World and the Black Blood world. Behind the Black Blood world, there is no Black Hand. It can be said that this is the most unbelievable secret since ancient times. This is something Lin Moyu has never thought about, but it also explains a lot of doubts very well. Even though it is clearly inferior to the Great World, the Black Blood Great Realm is able to harm both sides. When it was clearly inferior to the Great World, how could the Black Blood Great World find the confidence to start a life-and-death duel with the Great World? Lin Moyu 800 frowned slightly. Do you know where they come from? The mysterious host said, I don't know. I just know that they are very strong, and I was restrained by them. However, they seemed to take it into consideration and did not intervene too much. The number of shots was quite high. Lin Moyu said with doubts, but after the ancient war, they never appeared again. What on earth are they going to do? The mysterious master shook his head. You can only find the answer by yourself. Maybe the Dragon Clan will know something. Lin Moyu asked again, what's the situation with the Dragon Clan? Their existence is a bit weird to Yi Ping. The mysterious host said, the dragons come from outside the big world. They are outsiders. They only observe the world. Generally speaking, they will not interfere with the operation of the entire world. The Dragon Clan is very strong. Back then, I came into contact with a strong person in the Dragon Clan, and he was a Taoist. The mysterious master doesn't know much about the Dragon Clan. The Dragon Clan had shown such great power that all the strong men of that era had to compromise. And their existence will not have any impact on the world. Regardless of whether the world is alive or dead, the Dragon Clan is just there to watch. Even though the Black Blood realm kept pace with the times and launched the Black Blood craze, the Dragon Clan remained untouched. Who is the person standing behind the Black Blood realm? The first thing that can be ruled out is the Dragon Clan. Aphi, Lin Moyu thought of the Zerg. As a deadly rival to the dragon, the Zerg was extremely powerful and no weaker than the dragon. However, after Lin Moyu considered it, he also eliminated the Zerg. If it is the Zerg tribe, the dragon tribe will definitely take action. The two are mortal enemies. And after both the Black Blood world and the Big World were harmed, the power behind the Black Blood world left and never appeared again. The Black Blood realm is like an abandoned child, completely abandoned. Now the Black Blood world has completely perished, and even the last traces have been erased, leaving only the Big World to save itself. The mysterious owner said that he would give it a try, and he would not give up unless he gave it a try, which coincided with Lin Moyu's idea. The arrival of Dojie is the last chance for the Big World. If we can't succeed this time, then there will really be no hope for the world. The mark of the mysterious master is fading, and he is about to disappear. Lin Moyu seized the time and said, with your ability, you can go to the Boundary Sea and wait in the Boundary Sea for 20,000 years until now. Why don't you wait? The flames jumped, and the mysterious owner let out a vague laugh. That's a good question. You have thought of the essence of the problem. I have some special reasons and cannot do what you said, and the situation at the time does not allow it. I'm going to do it. Perhaps you will know the answer in the future, but you don't need to worry about it now. After 1,000 years, whether the world will live or die will depend on you. This is your era. The flames dissipated and the starry sky returned to darkness. Lin Moyu let out a long sigh. The mysterious master had no regrets about his departure. He seems to be full of hope for the future and is sure that he can save the world. After going through all the words said by the mysterious master in his mind, Lin Moyu's eyes became firm. Then give it a try. Nothing is impossible. He looked at the box again, and there was a doll lying in the box. The aura of the Supreme Realm emanates from the doll. Taking the doll in hand, soul power entered it and immediately obtained all the information about the doll. Blood-devouring puppet, activated with soul power, can turn into a puppet to fight. Whether the blood-devouring puppet is powerful or not depends on the user's soul history. It takes at least half a step for the Supreme to activate it. The blood-devouring puppet can explode with combat power equivalent to that of a low-level Supreme. The stronger the user's soul power, the more powerful the blood-devouring puppet's combat power will be, and the strongest can reach the peak. With Lin Moyu's current level, the blood-devouring puppet can display a combat experience equivalent to that of a high-level Supreme. If his soul power can go further, the blood-devouring puppet can reach its peak. Lin Moyu has a way to bring out the strongest combat power of the blood-devouring puppet. With him, he is equivalent to having a top-notch fighter. Moreover, the blood-devouring puppet can absorb blood and recover during a battle. It is extremely difficult to kill and is an extremely powerful combat puppet. This is the last gift from the mysterious master. He arranged it very carefully, considered everything clearly, and made a good move. This ability has completely surpassed the level of Tianzuan. The mysterious master was once infinitely close to Tao Zun, only one step away from Tao Zun, and was stronger than all Tianzuan. Lin Moyu felt that if he left the big world, he might really become a Taoist. Lin Moyu picked up the blood-devouring puppet and was about to put it away when he found that the puppet had a mark carved on the bottom of his left foot. This mark is a flower made of blood. It looks like a plum blossom. Next to the plum blossoms, there is a number, 1633. Does this mark and number have any special meaning? Lin Moyu thought for a while, but didn't understand it, so he simply put it away. To understand many things requires strength. Once you have the strength, you will naturally understand. Otherwise, so what if you figure it out, you might still encounter bad luck. It's time to go back. Except for not finding the Dragon Ball, everything else about this trip was satisfactory. In the Divine City, Xiaolu was walking in the large grassland under Xiaoxing. She is now a saint and has eaten a world fruit, making the world of rules more powerful and close to perfection. Xiao Wu held a piece of grass and swung it in his hand, murmuring, "Xiaonyo, the grass here is very good, why don't you eat it?" Maverick said, "I like to eat meat." Xiao Wu said, "You are a cow, you should eat grass." The calf shook his head, "Don't compare ordinary cows with me, I am a starry sky beast." Starry sky beasts do not eat grass, only meat. Xiao Wu tilted her head, Okay, you don't want to eat this either, right? A piece of shimmering green grass suddenly appeared in Xiao Wu's hand. The green grass was half a meter long, soft, and looked very fresh. This is not ordinary grass, but a material from the other side realm, which is called green spirit grass. The calf's eyes lit up and he nodded hurriedly, Eat, the calf eats grass. Xiao Wu chuckled and said, "Just now I said I wouldn't eat it." Throwing the green grass to the calf, and seeing that the calf was eating happily, Xiao Wu sat on the ground and held his chin in his hands. When will the master come back? The master's sister has also left, and Grandpa Shengzuan has gone to do other things. Xiaolu is so boring. While rejecting the green spirit grass, Maverick said, "I heard that a supreme being came to the domain, and the saints went there." Xiao Wu's eyes suddenly lit up. "Hey, the master is back." Outside the human star field, a huge red star stopped there. This star is tens of thousands times larger than ordinary stars, and even some smaller galaxies are not as big as it. Several saints from the human race were standing in front of him, talking about something. Red Star Supreme arrived a little earlier than planned. The Red Star Supreme came to the human star field and did not take any action. He just stopped there. To him, the human race is nothing. He didn't speak until the human saint arrived, but as soon as he opened his mouth, he looked for Lin Moyu. After learning that Lin Moyu was away, Red Star Supreme stopped talking. He only recognized Lin Moyu. Everyone can see that the Red Star Supreme has a weird temper. Wu Xingzuan and the others don't know how Lin Moyu communicates with the Red Star Supreme. The Red Star Supreme didn't speak, so they had nothing to do, so they waited like this for more than 10 years. Lin Moyu finally returned to the territory after leaving for hundreds of years. Feeling the completely different atmosphere in the domain, I couldn't help but feel uneasy in my heart. The door to space opens again and again, getting closer and closer to the human star field. Finally, he felt the aura of the Human Emperor network. The familiar voice of the Human Emperor suddenly sounded in my ears. I'm finally back. I have a few things to tell you. Lin Moyu heard that the Human Emperor's tone was slightly urgent and immediately responded, please speak. The first thing is that Tianqing Zun has finished his journey and brought back information about the Dojie. The amount of information is more than last time. I have sorted it out and gathered it. You can check it out later. After sorting out all the information, I analyzed a possibility, that is, there may be a powerful existence behind the world. Lin Moyu was slightly startled. Is it Do Di? Human Emperor said, it's not Do Emperor. Do Emperor does exist, but he is not the being behind Dojie. We will talk about the details after you come back. I am telling you now just to prepare you mentally. What should he be mentally prepared for? When he heard that there was someone behind the Black Blood Realm before, he was not too surprised, and he would not be surprised now. Lin Moyu said, what about the second thing? The Human Emperor said, the Red Star Supreme arrived 21 years ago, but you were not here. He didn't talk to any of us. He only said he was waiting for you to come back. Lin Moyu whispered, he arrived early. It seems that his operation went smoothly. The third thing is that the small world you came from has disappeared. Lin Moyu's expression remained unchanged. This was not a surprise. He had long known that the small world would disappear. He had no reaction to this. Is there anything else? The Human Emperor said, Xiao Wu has become a saint, the dark void in all directions has been completely purified, Xuan Wu has gone to the outside world, most of the space gate has been built, and your 2 wives are cultivating in the divine city. The Human Emperor told Lin Moyu what had happened in the human race in recent years. The human race has been relatively stable these years, and most things are going on in an orderly manner. And more people already know what is going to happen. After all, these things are too big to satisfy everyone. There are many smart people in the human race, and they can always guess some clues when they go to war like this. Rather than letting people guess randomly, it is better to release part of the news. However, the Human Emperor also has a sense of proportion. He knows very well what things can be said and who is qualified to know. However, the results analyzed by the Human Emperor made Lin Moyu a little surprised. There was actually a strong person behind Erjie. If this is the case, it is one of the worst outcomes. The early arrival of the Red Star Supreme was a bit unexpected. Lin Moyu looked at the Dojie information compiled by the Human Emperor while heading towards the location of the Red Star Supreme. The gate of space spans hundreds of thousands of light years. Lin Moyu has already arrived in front of the Red Star Supreme before he has finished reading the information. Several saints from the human race are here. They had received a message from the Human Emperor in advance and knew that Lin Moyu was coming. Feeling Lin Moyu's breath, the Red Star Supreme slowly woke up and roared. Lin Moyu slowly saluted the Red Star Supreme and said, "Good morning." Red Star Supreme buzzed, condensing the image of an old man. Not bad. He looked Lin Moyu up and down. You have reached the level of Holy Master. At your age, you are still at the top even in our time. Open your world of rules and let me see it. Faced with the request of the Red Star Supreme, Lin Moyu naturally would not refuse, and the world of rules slowly emerged behind him. The entire starry sky was shaking and swaying, and the body of the Red Star Supreme continued to vibrate and seemed to be trembling. A terrible pressure swept across the starry sky for hundreds of millions of miles. Several saints present felt that my body was under heavy pressure at the same time, and all the strength in my body was suppressed. Each of them looked shocked, looking at Lin Moyu's world of rules with some disbelief. Tian Xingzuan exclaimed, "This is Lin Xiaoyou's world of rules. I feel like I'm seeing another starry sky." Saint Hao said, "Lin Xiaoyu said that his rules world will be modeled on the big world." At that time, I thought it was too difficult. I didn't expect that Lin Xiaoyu could really do it. Fu Xingzuan's eyes flickered. There are countless runes in Master Lin's world of rules, and these runes are all ancient runes. Compared with them, my world of rules is extremely crude. The three saints were amazed. Lin Moyu's world of rules was far beyond imagination. The Red Star Supreme knew more, and the shock he got was even stronger. This is a world of perfect rules. No, it's more than perfect. Stars, laws, runes, reality and reality, origin, everything is there. Your world of rules goes beyond perfection. It is the realm of legend. The Red Star Supreme has lived too long. When he awakened his wisdom, the ancient war was far from starting. He has seen many worlds with various rules, from junk to perfect. But he has only heard of people like Lin Moyu who are beyond perfection. Red Star Supreme recalled in shock, everyone knows that the rules world has 3 levels, garbage, ordinary, and perfect. Only a few people know that there is actually another level above the perfect level, the legendary level beyond perfection. But just like its name, it is just a legend. In the legend, that person transcended perfection, but that is just a legend, and I have never really seen it. Perhaps Tianzuan has seen it, but I am not qualified to see it. The person that Red Star Supreme spoke of, no need to guess, is naturally the mysterious master. Tianzuan did not dare to call him by his name and had to obey his orders. Holy Talisman Tianzuan was obviously going to leave the big world, but he still pulled him back to do things, and he didn't dare to object. He was once the strongest person in the big world and the one closest to Tao Zun. If his world of rules goes beyond perfection, that is normal. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Are you still satisfied with the junior world of rules?" Red Star Supreme laughed out loud. "If you are even satisfied with this, there are no rules that people in the world will be satisfied with. There is a person like you in the human race. Maybe the world is really full of energy. No matter what, I will definitely do what I promised you. After all, I haven't lived enough yet, and I want to live for hundreds of millions more years." Lin Moyu put away the world of rules and said with a smile, "You will definitely be able to live for hundreds of millions more years." Red Star Supreme laughed, "I can't live for hundreds of millions of years. If there is no disaster, I can live for up to 100 million years. 100 million years is long enough. Even the Heavenly Lord would be envious of the existence of the Red Star Supreme." The Red Star Supreme waved his hand, Okay, since you are here and you meet my requirements, let's get started. I didn't expect that the 10,000 stars formation that I was gifted with was useless at that time, but it can be used now. It's really interesting. Besides, I have other preparations. The intensity of the 10,000 stars array can be greatly improved, and its planning capabilities are comparable to those of high-level supreme beings. I'm telling you, ding. The human race had already prepared the stars, a grand array of 10,000 stars. The human race had prepared 70,000 stars at the beginning, preparing to arrange 7 grand arrays of 10,000 stars. Calculated based on the time at that time, 70,000 stars were indeed enough. After all, each formation took 100 years. Unexpectedly, the Red Star Supreme arrived early. Based on time, he could almost arrange 10-star arrays. Then it would not be difficult to prepare 30,000 more stars. If resources are squeezed, there will always be some. 10,000 star formations will surround the human star field, forming an all-round protection for the star field. Cooperating with the space gate, the strong men of the human race can support every area at any time. Lin Moyu and several saints had the same idea. No matter how fierce the fight was, they should try not to hurt the human race. Keeping the enemy at bay is the best way. In the past, the plan was to use the 10,000 stars formation as the main combat force, but now the role has changed, and the 10,000 stars formation has become the main force of defense. The Red Star Supreme began to get busy, and the Heavenly Saint 187 and Fu Xingzuan immediately took him to the place where the formation was set up. After they left, Saint Hao came to Lin Moyu and asked, "What did Senior Hongxing say?" Lin Mo said, "Actually, Senior Red Star doesn't care about the life and death of our human race." Saint Hao nodded to express his understanding. After all, Senior Hongxing is not a human race. If he wants to fight, he will fight for the sake of the world and himself. Lin Mo said, "So he wants to read my rules." World, he wants to weigh whether it is worth it, but fortunately my world of rules can still satisfy him. Saint Hao asked, "What if your world of rules cannot satisfy him?" Lin Mo said, "I feel like he will leave and leave the big world." Although Red Star Supreme didn't say it, Lin Moyu could feel it. If the moment comes when the world is irreversible, Red Star Supreme will also choose to leave the big world. He wasn't kidding when he said he wanted to live. But as long as there is still hope, he will not choose that way and will still fight for it. Fortunately, Lin Moyu gave him hope. He saw not only the world of rules, but also the destiny of the human race and the larger world. Over the years, the Red Star Supreme has also been making preparations. He and the 100 Wars Supreme went to the Blood Spring ruins and packed away all the good things in the ruins, not even sparing the ruins themselves. So when Lin Moyu rushed to the Blood Spring ruins, he found that it was empty and there was nothing left. In the Blood Spring relics, the Red Star Supreme and the 100 Battles Supreme each got what they needed. The Red Star Supreme's strength also increased due to the gains from the Blood Spring relics. Lin Moyu speculated whether the Red Star Supreme got the Jia Haibei inside, so he had the confidence to leave the big world. According to him, the 100 Battles Supreme also gained a lot. At the moment, the 100 Battles Supreme is outside the territory, looking for something else, and will naturally come back when the time comes. Lin Moyu guessed that the 100 Battles Supreme must have absorbed the Blood Spring relics to replenish himself with the original power. After all, the soul of the 100 Battles Supreme was severely damaged, and it was hard to say whether he could still retain some of the combat power he had at his peak. Saint Hao patted Lin Moyu on the shoulder. "No matter what, we will do our best in this battle." Lin Mo said, "There is still a glimmer of hope after this great victory. If we lose, we will all die." Saint Hao looked serious and nodded silently. Lin Moyu added in his heart, "So, we can't lose." "You really can't lose, you can't afford to lose, and you'll have nothing if you lose. This battle can only be won." Lin Moyu has his own ideas, and he hasn't told Saint Hao and the others yet. He did not intend to let Saint Hao and the others participate in this battle. Just like the great wars in ancient times, the Holy Lord did not play a very big role at that time. What really determines the outcome is Tianzuan and some of the Pinnacle Supremes. The same is true for the battle in the Dojie. In the remaining 1,000 years, the few saints of the human race will only be promoted to half-step supreme at most. Facing the battle between the supremes, they were not even qualified to intervene. Perhaps they can participate in some low-intensity battles, but specific situations still require specific responses. This was Lin Moyu's idea, and he planned to discuss it with Mr. Human Emperor Xing. Above the Divine City, the door to space appeared, and Lin Moyu flew out. He did not go to find the Human Emperor and Xing Lao, but returned to his home in the Divine City first. With Lin Moyu's current status, he owns a huge manor in the Divine City. As his home, Yu Qingqing and Yu Zhu live in the manor. Lin Moyu was tired of the world, and the wanderer returned home. The manor was quiet. Lin Moyu came to the house but did not enter. He sensed that Yu Qingqing and Yu Zhu were practicing in seclusion. The two were practicing in the same secret room. It was obvious that they got along well, and Lin Moyu had no intention of disturbing them. Suddenly, a figure appeared from not far away and swooped over. Lin Moyu didn't react at all. The next second, there was a humanoid pendant on his body. Xiao Wu hung on Lin Moyu and shouted, "Master, you are finally back." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "You are already a saint, why do you still like to hang on to me?" Xiao Wu shook his head. Xiao Wu doesn't care. Even if he becomes a heavenly lord, Xiao Wu will still be attached to his master. He was once Lin Moyu's weapon spirit, and was later reincarnated into an adult by Lin Moyu's own hands. He has a natural dependence on Lin Moyu Zero. Xiao Wu is as pure as snow, no matter what her level is, she has no extra thoughts. Lin Moyu also follows her, as long as you like it. Xiao Wu gently rubbed her head against Lin Moyu and hung there for a while, enjoying her happiness before reluctantly coming down. Lin Moyu touched Xiao Wu's head and said, "How are you? Do you have fun with Mavericks?" Maverick was not far away. When he heard Lin Moyu mentioning him, he immediately responded, "Maverick is very obedient." Xiao Wu said, "I'm happy, but the master is not here, and neither is Grandpa Hao. Sister Yu and Sister Ro have also been in seclusion, which makes them boring sometimes." Lin Mo said, "You can go to other places. Xiao Wu is a saint now, so he can go anywhere in the human race. Have you been to the human emperor's place? There is also Xinglao's place, which is quite fun. You can play with them sometimes." Xiao Wu shook her head. She had never been to either of these places. But her eyes were shining, and she seemed to be interested in both places. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Let's go, I'll take you there." The law of space was activated, wrapping Xiao Wu, and the two of them disappeared instantly. Maverick tilted his head and mooed, "Auntie is finally gone, so Nyo can take a rest." After saying that, he fell to the ground with a thud and was snoring in an instant. The saliva fell on the grass, and the calf began to dreaming about the days when he was free in the starry sky, and dreaming about many cows. The Lost RC is still gorgeous and colorful, and people back then. The Emperor used the power of the magic weapon to divide his spiritual body into two parts. One part became the human emperor, the other part became Xing 3.1 is old, and after many years of hard training, he has returned to the half-step supreme. After reaching the half-step supreme level, both the human emperor and Xing Lao seemed to have reached their upper limit, unable to make any progress. But because of the magic weapon, their lifespans are long, far beyond the half-step supreme. For tens of thousands of years, they have been sitting at the core of the human race and protecting it. It is precisely because of their existence that the human race can be safe and sound. Xing Lao refined the Lost RC and projected it into the human emperor's network for the human race to practice. Whether he was in charge of the human race or the Law Galaxy, the former Xiao Zhantian and now the human emperor Xing Lao really dedicated everything to the human race. Lin Moyu had respect for them. "Wow, so beautiful!" Xiao Wu couldn't help but exclaimed when she saw the Lost RC, her big eyes widened. She stared at the Lost RC and said cautiously, "Can I go inside and play?" Lin Moyu smiled slightly, "You have to ask the owner here." Chapter 23-24, Now that I'm older, I can think more openly. "Go play." Xing Lao's voice came. Xiao Wu screamed, "Thank you, Grandpa Xing." Before she finished speaking, she had already rushed into the Lost RC. Xiao Wu was playing in the Lost RC and flying among countless lost stars. He didn't look like a saint at all. Although he has lived for countless years, his mind is still like that of a child, so simple and endearing. Lin Moyu saluted Mr. Xing, "Old Xing, long time no see." Xing Lao was still sitting there, fishing for impossible fish, looking extraordinary. Kindly and with a smile on his face, he said, "There should be another harvest this time." Lin Moyu nodded, "There is indeed something gained. I came here to discuss something with you and the human emperor." The light and shadow lit up, and prisoner Phoenix's projection appeared beside him. Lin Moyu got straight to the point. In this battle with the Dojie, I do not plan to send out the human army. Xing Lao narrowed his eyes. You don't want the human race to be harmed, right? Lin Moyu nodded. This is one of the reasons, and there is also the deep European. Tell me. Lin Moyu stated his reasons. The first is what he thinks. The one who determines the final outcome is not an ordinary saint, but the supreme one. The strongest people in the human race at present, excluding Lin Moyu and Lin Mohan, are the human emperor and Xing Lao. 09 Both of them are only half-step supreme and cannot decide this battle. As for the holy lords, this is even more true, so when they go to the battlefield, they have no intention other than to be cannon fodder. The second is the relationship between the human race and the big world. The human race is a creature bred by the big world. The rise and fall of the human race is related to the fate of the big world. If the human race suffers too many casualties, the fate of the world will also be damaged. This is something Lin Moyu only understood after he became a saint and had his own world of rules. The strength of the human race will make the luck of the world stronger. Based on the above two reasons, there are enough reasons not to let humans participate in the war. Willing. After listening to Lin Moyu's words, both Pingho and Wuji fell into deep confusion. They all knew that Lin Moyu was right, he was stating a fact. Now Lin Moyu alone has the strength to crush the entire human race. In the battle with the Dojie, if even Lin Moyu can't stop them, let alone them, suicide is the best result. After analyzing the data, the human emperor already had the answer. He and Elder Xing looked at each other, and then said, then we will defend ourselves within the human star field and rely on the Wanwayan formation. Lin Mo said, this is what I think too, the 10,000 stars formation also needs people to control it in order to exert its maximum combat power. The Red Star Supreme Lord may be too busy by then. It would be best if there are several holy lords to assist. Mr. Xing chuckled, in this way, we are relaxed. But you have to sit down. It should be. Lin Moyu also breathed a sigh of relief, fearing that they would not be willing to join the battle in person. But I don't think so. The human emperor and Mr. Xing are very sensible and would not do such an unwise thing. Lin Moyu continued, then let's analyze the situation of Dojie again and see if there is any backer behind Dojie. This time, the fugue possessed a child from an aristocratic family who happened to manage a large amount of information, and he also liked to read information. At that time, Tian Xingzuan forcibly memorized all these information and brought them back. After all, it is only a ray of soul that possesses it, and its strength is not high. Tian Xingzuan can only forcefully write it down. The century-old data is huge, and it involves all aspects of the fighting world. After sorting it out, the Emperor found something unusual in one of the inconspicuous documents. In the fighting world, everyone respects Do Emperor. This Do Emperor is the controller of the entire fighting world and is the most upright existence. But Emperor Do's life is not infinite, Emperor Do will also. When you grow old, you will face death. But every time Do Emperor dies, a new Do Emperor will appear immediately. Some people say that it was Emperor Do who achieved Nirvana and his ministers. There once was an extremely powerful star warrior. He did not build a city. He was a free star warrior. After his death, a note circulated. It was written in that note that Do Emperor was actually just a subordinate of another great being. Whenever Do Emperor died, that great being would appoint a starfighter to become the new Do Emperor. Do Jiat. The meaning of Dodi's existence is to manage the entire. That starfighter once had a chance to become the new Do Emperor, but unfortunately he failed in the competition. Europe. These words have become legends in the fighting world and have never been proven. Many people think that this is just a figment of the Star Warrior in his old age. It was from this information that the human emperor discovered the anomaly. Lin Moyu did not question the human emperor's analysis. The results obtained by the human emperor based on the data would not easily go wrong. The Emperor believes that this possibility is about 50%, and there is a half chance of it being true. Lin Moyu fell into deep thought. Is it just imagination, or does such a person really exist? When the big world collides with the black blood world, there is a powerful celestial force behind the black blood world. If we go by this, it is not impossible that there are other existences behind Dojie. From outside the world, within the boundary sea. This existence should be beyond the scope of the world. So what is their purpose and why do they do this? Lin Moyu believes that anyone who does anything has a purpose, a motive, and always wants to get something. So what can you gain by manipulating a world? The resources of this world? Maybe just one of them. What is the purpose of manipulating the black blood world to fight against the big world? If the black blood world wins, what can he gain? It is estimated that the two have similar goals, and both have what they want. It shouldn't be the power of the original source. If that kind of existence needs the power of the original source, you can search for it in the world sea. What's that for? Lin Moyu thought for a long time but didn't get an answer. Lin Moyu felt that Antares might know the answer, but he had now left the big world with the small world. Antares said he would come back, but she didn't know when he would come back. Lin Moyu had no expectations for this guy, as long as he was safe. Tianlong will definitely know, but Tianlong will definitely not say 370. Lin Moyu wanted to try to talk to Tianlong, but there seemed to be no clue at the moment. If he could find the fourth Dragon Ball, there would be some hope. Xing Lao said with a smile, if you don't understand it, don't think about it. In fact, even if we know there is someone behind Dojie, there is nothing we can do. Lin Moyu smiled and said, there is really no way. No matter whether there are people or not, this battle will be fought. For Dojie, world weariness is the bathhouse for their advancement. For us, this is a contract for the world to save itself. Mr. Xing said kindly, that's true. No matter what, we have to fight this battle. The worst we can do is lose. It doesn't matter. Lin Moyu smiled, I wish you were really open-minded. Mr. Lin Moyu was amused by Xing Lao's appearance, and the trace of gloom just now disappeared. The human emperor continued, one more thing. After the bull demon tribe was destroyed, there was no trace of the Buddha tribe again. We still know where they are hiding. Lin Mo said, the purpose of the Buddhists is simple, just for the original power of the great world, which will come out sooner or later. When they come out, I'll take care of these guys who hide their heads and hide their tails. The human emperor said, Qin Yin too is sure of the battle in the fighting world. Lin Mo said, if they only have one Do emperor, they are at least 70% sure. Both Xing Lao and the human emperor looked at Lin Moyu in shock. It was obvious that Lin Moyu had gained an astonishing amount from this trip outside the territory. Your choice changes your destiny. The Bai family in the Divine City, the head of the family is Bai Qiuxia, in the other side of the world. The Bai family is not only a powerful family in the Divine City, but also in charge of the White Tiger Star territory. In the previous war between hundreds of tribes, all tribes contributed their efforts, and the ancestors of the Bai family also participated in the battle. However, because Bai Qiuxia went wrong during her training, her soul was damaged, and her combat experience was somewhat worse than that of the other shores. However, he still fought hard, without any reservation, fighting. Another injury on the field. Later, Lin Moyu came to the battlefield and used all his strength to treat the injuries of all the soldiers. Bai Qiuxia's injuries have improved, and the injuries suffered by the Lotus Layer Meridian Linghui have improved. Even Bai Qiuxia thought that his injury was fine, but he didn't expect that 100 years later, his injury would start to recur. Only then did Bai Qiuxia realize that her injuries had not been cured. He could only turn to the human emperor for help and find Lin Moyu. Only Lin Moyu could hurt his soul. Unfortunately, Lin Moyu was running around here and there and was very busy at that time. The human emperor knew that Bai Qiuxia's injury was actually not fatal, and it had been delayed again and again until now. Just now, the human emperor and Lin Moyu mentioned the Bai family. Only then did Lin Moyu realize that it was indeed the case and rushed to the Bai family immediately. The human emperor opened the teleportation array for Lin Moyu and went directly to the planet where the Bai family was located. Source: the family that owns the ancestors of the other shore realm controls a lot of resources. The Bai family owns 10 galaxies. On the main star where the Bai family is located, there is only one family, Baijia. Big things. There are millions of people in the Bai family, and they are truly a giant. The teleportation array lit up, and Lin Moyu appeared in the teleportation array. The two Bai family members who were guarding the teleportation array looked at Lin Moyu, who suddenly arrived, and were suddenly confused. Come. This is the private teleportation array of the Bai family. Outsiders can't get through it at all. Lin Moyu's dress was not that of the Bai family. Although the two of them were confused, they were still polite. One of them asked carefully, "Who are you? What are you doing at Bai's house?" Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Please let me know that Lin Moyu is here to visit Senior Bai Chioxia." One of them frowned, "You want to see our ancestor?" "It's my ancestor you want to see." Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by another person. "Wish Sisu silently?" Lin Moyu nodded slightly. "Are you the legendary Lin Moyu?" Lin Moyu smiled, "Probably so." Lin Moyu's name was the loudest just after the war. The entire human race knew the names of Lin Moyu and Lin Mohan. Everyone regards Lin Moyu as their idol. Later, as time passed, geniuses continued to emerge in the human race, and Lin Moyu's name gradually faded away. However, in the minds of many people, Lin Moyu is still an irreplaceable legend. The two people now are not very old and have just reached the level of super god. They should be the new generation of the Bai family. They had also heard about Lin Moyu's legend, but they had never seen Lin Moyu. The two Bai family members had different reactions. One was shocked, the other was confused and disbelieving. One person remained skeptical. "Are you really Lin Moyu? You can't be fake, right?" Another person said, "Senior, please wait a moment. I will inform you when I wake up." After he finished speaking, he immediately took out the jade metal from his waist, stirred the jade metal with his soul, and reported what happened here. Another person looked at him and said, "Are you crazy? If he is fake, you will be punished." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Yes, where is Leary's fake one?" The man said, "I trust my own judgment." Lin Moyu became interested. "Tell me how you judge." The man said, "The fact that you can come here through the teleportation array is enough to prove that you are extraordinary. This is a teleportation array for the private use of my Bai family. Outsiders cannot use it without my Bai family's permission. This junior has heard that apart from my Bai family, only the Human Emperor Network has the right to use this teleportation array. There is also Mr. S. Magnanimity. I have seen it in several seniors. Those seniors are all my ancestors' friends. I think Mr. is a disgusting person in the same realm as my ancestor." Lin Moyu looked at him. "Is there more?" The man said, "There is also the tone in which you address the Chioxia Patriarch, which further shows that your status is different. Has been." Lin Moyu smiled. "You are very attentive. Are you here?" The man immediately saluted and said, "Junior Bai Yi." Lin Moyu was stunned for a moment. "Your name is Bai Yi?" "Yes." Bai Yi was also confused, and Lin Moyu's reaction clearly had doubts about his name. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "I do have a senior whose name is only one letter different from yours." At that moment, he thought of Bai Yuan. Many of Bai Yuan's words and deeds can still become his own example to this day. Suddenly, a ray of glow rose from the distance and exploded in the sky, blasting out thousands of colorful clouds, which were extremely gorgeous. Then a 9-colored ray of light shot from the sky. Above the ray of light, a heroic woman stepped out of the sky. Seeing the woman, Lin Moyu couldn't help but smile. She has also reached the other side. The person who came was Bai Binger, the original domain lord of the White Tiger Star territory. After the war, he was promoted to the other side realm and returned to Baijia. It's Bingzu. Seeing Bai Binger, Bai Yi, and the other one lowered their heads at the same time, not daring to look. Bai Binger is from the other side. She is called Bingzu in her family, and she is on the same level as Bai Qiuxia. Unexpectedly, Bai Binger would come in person. Bai Yi trembled all over. He knew that he had done nothing wrong. The person in front of him was the legendary one. Bai Binger, dressed in colorful clouds, landed in front of Lin Moyu and saluted Lin Moyu respectfully. Mr. Lin is here, the Bai family is full of glory, and we welcome you from afar. Lin Moyu waved her hand to interrupt her. The territory lord has always been vigorous and resolute. When did he become such a bitch? Bai Binger smiled and said, today is different from the past, your identity is different. Lin Mo said, come on, identity doesn't matter. If you talk like this again, I will turn around and leave. No. Bai Binger waved her hands quickly, and then she smiled casually, okay, I'll change. We have been waiting for so many years, and finally you have sex. Lin Mo said, it's my fault this time, I'm just too busy. Bai Binger said, we also know that you are busy. The problem of Patriarch Qiuxia is not too serious. It doesn't matter if it takes a while. Lin Mo said, let's go and take the glue doctor to take a look. Bai Binger immediately waved her hand to attract the 9 colored clouds in the sky. Receiving guests with 9 colored clouds is already the highest etiquette among human beings. Lin Moyu's current status cannot be overstated with this kind of etiquette. Lin Moyu suddenly glanced at Bai Yi before stepping onto Yunxia. This little guy is pretty good, and he is destined to be with me. Let's take him with us. Bai Yi trembled violently and couldn't believe it. Naturally, Bai Binger could not refuse Lin Moyu's request. Then you should come too. Thank you, Senior Lin. Thank you, Bingzu. Zhao got it. He immediately stepped onto Caixia and followed Lin Moyu. However, he was very sensible and kept a little distance, just standing on the edge of the 9 colored clouds. Caixia flew the 3 of them towards Bai's house. Lin Moyu glanced at Bai Yi and said, relax, don't be nervous. This is your home that you deserve. Bai Binger smiled and said, Mr. Lin seems to be very optimistic about him. Lin Moyu smiled and said, he is careful, has good soul acuity, and has a solid foundation. He is a talent that can be developed. Bai Binger nodded, sir, you have said so. From now on, the Bai family will train him carefully to see if he can become a talent. Lin Moyu smiled, I believe in my own vision. Bai Yi on the side was so excited that he couldn't speak. There were millions of people in the Bai family, and he was nothing. Now, because of Lin Moyu's words, his fate is about to change. He already regarded Lin Moyu as a god in his heart, and it was Lin Moyu who changed his destiny. Lin Moyu saw what he was thinking, you don't need to be too grateful to me. It was your own choice that changed your destiny. You will naturally understand it in the future. Chapter 23-26, Thank you so much. It's not cured yet. In the Bai family's ancestral home, Lin Moyu met Bai Qiuxia. Bai Qiuxia looks a little old. That kind of oldness does not mean age, but is not the same as old age. There is a trace of twilight in him, which is caused by the trauma to his soul over the years. Bai Qiuxia had prepared refreshments. As soon as Lin Moyu arrived, she politely welcomed Lin Moyu to his seat. Bai Qiuxia said, ever since I received Mr. Lin's treatment on the battlefield, I thought my injuries were healed, but I didn't expect that it would only take more than 100 years for it to relapse. I have no choice but to trouble Mr. Lin again. Lin Moyu was a little embarrassed. I'm so busy that I can't help. Bai Qiuxia shook her head. Mr. Lin, you are too polite. You are busy with family affairs, I understand. Lin Moyu stopped being polite. What's the matter with your injury? Can you tell me? Bai Qiuxia nodded. Let me verify it for you first. The breath of white-gray summarizes, the law surge, and the soul is revealed. The pressure belonging to the other side realm surges out along with the soul, covering a large area. Lin Moyu frowned slightly. It was really inappropriate for a person in the other side realm to have such weak control over his own power. The other shore realm has mastered its own power to an extremely high degree. As long as one does not want to, the pressure will not be leaked at will. But Bai Qiuxia was obviously not like this. His soul was under pressure and was running around almost uncontrollably. It's no wonder that a large number of formations were deployed near Bai Qiuxia's residence, and there was no one living there at all. Bai Yi, who came with him, turned pale. He couldn't bear the pressure of Bai Qiuxia's other side realm. Not only Bai Yi, but Bai Binger also felt uncomfortable. She had just arrived in the other side realm not long ago, and her strength was not as good as Bai Qiuxia's, and now she could only barely maintain her strength. Collapse. In Bai Yi's feeling, it was the end of the world. Lin Moyu casually popped up a trace of the law of immortality and fell on Bai Yi. Bai Yi, who was about to collapse, instantly felt that the world was bright again, and all the pressure disappeared. The power of life travels throughout the body, and even feels that he has more energy than he can use up. Lin Moyu looked at Bai Qiuxia's soul that emerged. The soul is the most secret existence. Bai Qiuxia's willingness to reveal his soul shows that he has great trust in Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu looked carefully at Bai Qiuxia's soul, and there was an inconspicuous black spot in the center of his soul. It was this black spot that destroyed the integrity of the soul and made it difficult for Bai Qiuxia to control her power. In this way, what others can accomplish with one part of their efforts, he may have to use two parts of his efforts. Become. The inconspicuous black spots weakened his strength by at least 3. The most troublesome thing is that the soul is injured, and the damage is almost the same as the holy being. Lin Moyu looked at the black spots and frowned, seeming to be thinking about something. Bai Qiuxia also became nervous. He didn't know if Lin Moyu could heal his injury. Lin Moyu waved out a force of life that fell on Bai Qiuxia's soul. The force of life was like rain, making Bai Qiuxia feel extremely comfortable. The old age in Bai Qiuxia's body quickly disappeared, and even her appearance became much younger. Bai Qiuxia changed from an old man to a middle-aged man in the blink of an eye. The black spots on the soul also quickly become smaller under the influence of the power of life. Bai Qiuxia seemed to have regained control of her power, and the pressure of her soul no longer scattered randomly, but could move according to her heart again. Bai Binger's face showed joy. It works. Injuries that are incurable in the eyes of others can be healed so easily in the hands of Lin Moyu. Bai Qiuxia saluted Lin Moyu. Mr. Lin is so powerful. Lin Moyu shook his head. Thank you early, it's not cured yet. Bai Qiuxia was stunned for a moment. Is it safe? But he felt completely fine. Lin Moyu's eyes were like lightning, staring at Bai Qiuxia's soul, while waves of vitality continued to pour into it. In his eyes, the black spot still existed, but it had shrunk to a very small level. If it weren't for his powerful spiritual sense, he wouldn't be able to feel it. This is why Bai Qiuxia once felt that she had recovered, but 100 years later, the injury recurred again. It's not completely healed at all, the injury is still there, it's just been suppressed temporarily. It's the same this time. Lin Moyu can suppress Bai Qiuxia's injuries for 100 or even 200 years without any problem. But as long as the injury is still there, Bai Qiuxia can't go any further. The Holy Lord has no hope. Lin Moyu found that no matter how much energy he exerted, it was of no avail. The black spots were extremely stubborn and refused to disappear. After thinking for a while, Lin Mo said, "Relax, it might hurt a little." Meaning. Bai Qiuxia completely trusted Lin Moyu. Mr. Lin Moyu wrapped the power of death with the power of life and rushed into Bai Qiuxia's soul. He was very careful. The power of death was enough to cause severe trauma to the soul, so he needed to correct the original wound with extreme accuracy. The power of death can destroy almost all powers, good or bad. So the power of death can sometimes be used to heal injuries, it depends on you. How to use it. After the power of death reached its target location, Lin Moyu gained control over it. The sharp pain in her soul suddenly swept through Bai Qiuxia's whole body. Bai Qiuxia groaned, her whole body trembled, and she sweated like rain for a moment. However, he still held back and did not scream again and again. A few seconds later, Lin Moyu withdrew the power of death and proved that the power of the living area continued to nourish Bai Qiuxia's soul. But his brows furrowed even more tightly. The power of death was useless and could not corrode the black spot. This was the first time he encountered this situation. After the pain subsided, Bai Qiuxia saw Lin Moyu's expression and had a bad feeling in her heart. Mr. Lin, can it be cured? Lin Moyu didn't hide it. It's really not easy to cure. Senior Qiuxia, can you tell me how you were injured? Certainly. Although Bai Qiuxia was a little disappointed, her mood remained stable. With Lin Moyu's vitality suppressing him, the injury had no effect on him for the time being. Even if it relapses, it will only be severe after 100 years. He put away his soul and took a sip of tea before speaking slowly. That year, when I finally stepped onto the other side, I knew that with my qualifications, it would be almost impossible to become a saint unless there was some unforeseen chance. So I went outside the territory and tried to find opportunities. I have been searching outside the territory for hundreds of years, and finally I found a hole in space. I entered it and cured of strange celestial beings. There, I finally found a treasure. After refining, it can speed up my cultivation. I thought it was my chance. Just when I thought I had a chance to become a saint, the danger came. A strange creature appeared in that world and could perform soul attacks. My soul was tempered at that time. Fortunately, I have a soul magic weapon, so the injuries I suffered were not serious. I searched everywhere, found an exit, and escaped. After listening to his story, Lin Moyu asked, "Can I see that treasure?" Bai Qiuxia had already prepared and hid the treasure directly in the Ba Bandit. The treasure looks ordinary, nothing special. But Lin Moyu could feel that there was a strange aura in the treasure. He narrowed his eyes slightly, sensed his soul carefully, and finally found something was wrong. This treasure contains the power of the soul, but it is not the soul power of the human race, but of the dragon race. That place is related to the dragon clan. Lin Moyu immediately asked, "Is that hole in space still there?" Bai Qiuxia shook her head. After I came back, I gathered this matter into the Human Emperor Network. Some saints went to look for it, but I didn't find the hole in space. But according to the rules of the emergence of space holes, it may still be possible. Lin Moyu whispered, "Give me the specific location and I'll go take a look."